San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And usually a happy Monday we like to get to on the Braden Surprenant Show. Probably a little bit sadder of a Monday for a lot of sports fans in San Diego. We'll talk about that early on in the show today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We have a regular full week this week. Nothing changes. An average, a normal week for us, right, Frank? We got nothing else. No crazy holidays. No preemptions of any kind. It's a full week of fun and sports from 10 to 2 after Ben and Woods each and every day. Next week, things change a little bit. We head to Baltimore, Maryland for the Army-Navy game. Should be a fun time. And then after that, it gets into Christmas time and the holiday season and all of that fun stuff. So this might be one of the last full weeks of the 2025 year for us on the air. So we really appreciate you guys joining us each and every day, talking sports, talking college sports, pro sports, Padres baseball, all of it under the sun. So here's what we got. A rough weekend for San Diego sports fans. In terms of their number, they're two prominent sports teams right now in season, which would be San Diego FC and Aztec football. It's still early on in the season for the basketball teams in town. Like, I know UCSD had a great week this week as they were able to win that tournament they had over in Disney World last week during Feast Week. Good for UCSD. USD is starting to struggle a little bit more than you would like. And in the basketball realm, that's a tough loss to Long Beach State yesterday. Aztecs basketball went 1-2 in the Players Era Festival. They did get the win against Oregon, who didn't win a single game at the Players Era Festival, but a 10-point loss to Baylor, not going to help out. And San Diego State, with the net rankings coming out today in basketball, dropped to 123 in the first edition of the net rankings. So a lot of negativity there. But let's talk about what happened over the weekend. Now, we're going to let Frank talk about Survivor Series a little bit later on in the show. He was able to attend. It sounded like it was a fun time. Survivor Series, WWE making a trip to Petco Park, which was great for San Diego to be able to host events like that. These are the events that I talk about all the time when you discuss stadium renderings and why you need to make the place big to host major events. So Petco Park able to host Survivor Series. That was pretty cool. Over the weekend, I was unable to attend, but I know Bennett Woods attended and Frank was there. We'll dive into that in just a little bit. But let's talk about the two pressing things. And one of them, to me, and the most important one is San Diego FC. I mean, we're going to talk about Aztec football in this segment, in this hour. We're going to talk about the joke that was the tie-breaking process. But at the same time, I don't think San Diego State got that hose compared to maybe New Mexico. San Diego State had an opportunity to not even put themselves in this situation by just taking care of business against the Lobos on the road. And their offense really couldn't get the job done. And Denegal really couldn't get the job done. So from that perspective, San Diego State had their opportunity to win in Hawaii or win at New Mexico and win one of those games, and they'd be probably hosting the Mountain West Championship game. Instead, they put it in fate's hands, they put it in the computer hands, and they're not going to be playing in the Mountain West Championship game. Still a great season. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But the most pressing thing to me is San Diego FC. And a tough loss to Vancouver on Saturday night. It's the same time as the Survivor Series, and we talked about, Frank asked for tickets for Survivor Series a long time ago, so he had to go to that. It wasn't going to change anything. He was blessed enough to get the tickets for Survivor Series. So he was unable to attend the San Diego FC game. So maybe it is your fault, Frank. Maybe it's your fault.
I didn't go to any of the San Diego FC playoff games.
All right, so it's not your fault.
There you go. I may have gone to did I go to the first one?
I thought you went to one of the playoff games.
I probably went to the first one. I didn't go to any of them after that, though.
So San Diego FC loses 3-1 to Vancouver, and what was going to be a great opportunity for them to potentially make it to the MLS Cup to face Lionel Messi and Inter Miami, and do something really extraordinary in their first year. Now, that being said, we talked about it with Drake Hills a couple of times ago about what would make a successful season for San Diego FC in their first year. And we talked about it at the beginning of the season. Hey, look, they make the playoffs. Everything's great. Then they get the 1 seed in the Western Conference, and the conversation goes to, well, if they make the conference semifinals, I think it's a great finish. They made the conference finals. I mean, they were 1 game away from potentially making it to the MLS Cup finals. I think overall, when you look at this first season of San Diego FC, I think you have to say it was very successful. It's an expansion team. And for an expansion team to do everything that they did this season in winning the Western Conference and putting themselves in contention to win the Supporters Shield and being a game away from making the MLS Cup final, these are all remarkable things for an expansion team. You don't see that a lot when you have expansion teams in leagues. There's a lot of different drafts. There's a lot of different ins and outs, and every league is slightly different. But you look at some other leagues around professional sports, the expansion teams usually don't do very well. You don't get the Vegas Golden Knights all the time. You usually get 5, 6, 7 years of a team taking their lumps as they try to figure things out in their first year. San Diego FC set the bar extremely high. And with that organization should be very proud of what they've accomplished. I know it's not enough for them. I know just talking to Mikey Varas, the times we've been able to interview him and have conversations with him and listening to his press conferences, he's obviously not satisfied with how things finished. But I know after a couple of days, the team's going to understand that they've accomplished a lot of different things. But it was a nightmarish start for San Diego FC on Saturday. I mean, game started at 6:15. And the game was essentially over by 6:25 in the evening. Vancouver scored 2 goals in the first 11 minutes, both created by exploiting San Diego FC's rookie outside backs and backup goalkeeper Pablo Cisniega. Whitecaps scored in the 8th minute as rookie right back Ian Pilcher lost the ball in his own defensive third. Vancouver combined 4 one-touch passes. Brian White tapped in the goal, 1-0 Whitecaps. And then 3 minutes later, in the 11th minute, rookie left back Luca Bombino was beaten badly by the Whitecaps winger. Sabi's hard shot was blocked straight into the middle by Cisniega. Ali Ahmed pounced, and rookie center back Manu Dua accidentally cleared the rebound off Cisniega's back and into the goal. And with that, the Whitecaps had a 2-0 lead 11 minutes into the game, and San Diego FC just never recovered. In the 38th minute, Whitecaps added another goal. It was 3-0. San Diego FC was able to get a goal in the second half, but it just wasn't enough for the local team. And I think a lot of people that I saw it were talking about like, oh, San Diego's cursed. Things happen. It's just unfortunate that San Diego hasn't been able to put together championship level teams. There's a lot of cities like that. I think it just goes overall, it just shows you how everything needs to align to win a championship in professional sports. I mean, you got to have a lot of things go right. You got to have a lot of players not get injured. I mean, let's think about all the injuries that San Diego FC has had. Let's think about, them not being able to hang on to all their players throughout the entire year. I mean, these are things that play in to teams having incredible runs and teams being able to overcome, or should I say, make it through a lot of difficult situations. And again, it's a brand new team. I think overall the season is a roaring success for San Diego FC. But it was kind of a disastrous game for the city of San Diego on Saturday, Frank.
Yeah, playoff losses happen. every organization, every team has those playoff clunkers, whether you like it or not. But one thing that really bothered me over the weekend was seeing so many fans and so many personalities here in San Diego saying that, oh, it's the San Diego curse. To me, that completely washes away what San Diego FC did. It minimizes what San Diego FC did this year. Remember at the start of the year what our expectations for this team was? Don't suck.
Yeah, just
that was it.
Try to win over the casual fans.
Be interesting. That was their goal. That was our goal for them this year. And I remember you talking with Drake, their first place, they're in a competitive spot. And you're talking to Drake in July, halfway through the season, asking if they really are for real. Is this for real? And you're like, well, there's a tough stretch here, there's a tough stretch there. And they beat it. They won everything. And I think the biggest measure of success this year was, and I keep going back to it, there was a night where the Dodgers were here on a Saturday night with 45,000 people at Petco Park. And on the same night, at the same time, you had 35,000 people at Snapdragon Stadium watching San Diego FC. 80,000 people having a Saturday night in San Diego watching their sports teams. That was the success that San Diego FC had this year. They did what they needed to do. They got the fan base they got a fan base, and they got the fan base to believe in them. And now you have a group of people who are frothing at the mouth for February to start so they could do it all over again. They did so much more this year that just hoisting the MLS Cup could never have done. They succeeded in so many more ways this year than just winning the MLS Cup. And you weren't going to win the MLS Cup this year. That Inter Miami team is too good. They can score at will, and we've said it all year. San Diego FC has a hard time scoring if it's not going to be Anders Dreyer. You were playing for the right to lose to Inter Miami on Saturday night. It was just to classify this as, oh, it's just the San Diego curse popping up again. That does a complete disservice to everything that San Diego FC accomplished this year.
Well, I want to talk about that in the next segment, but we have a little bit of time here now to get the break, and let's talk about the San Diego FC in general. What went wrong? I mean, there's a lot of things that pop up, and when you start to look back, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment, and it just kind of popped into my mind about the San Diego curse. I think it's just a coping mechanism for a lot of fans out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I have a lot of examples of why X team was never going to win, and why I think you need to evaluate things differently based on how maybe current ownerships are compared to what previous ownerships were, and all sorts of different things. And just look at just the difference of aspect of teams. But you look at the San Diego FC team, they accomplished a lot. They accomplished a lot throughout the year, but you didn't have your number one goalkeeper. And the fact that you were able to make it to the playoffs with your backup goalkeeper for the entirety of the playoffs and the end of the regular season is remarkable. I mean, if you have CJ Dos Santos, it might be a little bit different in that game, but overall, a difficult night for San Diego FC and their goalkeepers. Frank, what did you see out of the, Pablo Cisniega trying to do everything he can to help fill in?
He's the backup goalkeeper for a reason.
That's right.
The second goal, that's just a fluke. I mean, that happens. Every goalkeeper's had it to them. They've all had, we have hockey on in here. Every hockey goaltender's had a little trickler slide through the 5-hole. It happens. That's just something that happens. The kid's a teenager. I believe he's 18. He's playing in the biggest game of his life. It's his first crack at this.
Let's just put it in perspective. There were 18-year-olds on Saturday night playing for a high school football championship at Southwestern College. He's an 18-year-old down the street playing for a
professional
chance to make it to the MLS Cup in front of 38,000 people at Snapdragon Stadium.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different environment, right? Slightly different environment. I mean, you were at the Open Division Championship game, Frank. There's a lot of 18-year-olds playing there.
Yeah.
That was a big environment. That was about 8 to 10,000 people max.
Yeah.
Now multiply that, up to 30,000 people, whatever it is.
35,000.
And then you throw an 18-year-old, he's playing professional. He's a goalie at a professional level against guys that have played in a lot of impressive leagues and a lot of international experience.
Against names like Thomas Muller, who is the starting striker for the German national team when they won the World Cup. That's who he was up against. And if San Diego FC would have won, he would have gone up against Lionel Messi, who, when Pablo Cisniega was born, Messi was an upstart at Barcelona and became the greatest soccer player of all time. I mean, that's the company that he is in. That's the stage that he was on. That's insane. And as Go Aztecs in the chat saying, there's goalkeepers at USD, UCSD, and at San Diego State that are older than he is.
Every goalkeeper at USD is older than 18. Every single one of them is. I just looked up the roster. Every single one of the USD goalkeepers are older than 18.
Hold on. Where did I hear? Oh, he's 30. He's 30.
If he was born in 1995, he's my age.
Where did I hear he was a teenager? I heard somebody else was wrong there. So I apologize for that. That was me being wrong. That was me going off of what I heard somebody say. Still 30 years old. I mean, that's still a big spot. But again, at 30 years old,
it's mostly because he was a backup goalkeeper.
Yeah. At 30 years old, you're a backup for a reason. Backup in the MLS for a reason. So again, I'll put my hand up there. I think you're
talking about Duran Ferry, who made his MLS debut in a conference final.
Okay, there you go.
He came in when San Diego FC was down a man to debut, and he's the third string goalkeeper.
Gotcha.
And he's 19.
So that was where the confusion was.
But he's still younger than everybody at the USD team.
Yeah. So I mean,
the back line's all teenagers.
Yes, they are, and that's another issue that San Diego State has. Well, it's not really an issue, but you find out where you have to have your first experience in these situations in some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, they learn the hard way that you can't. Youth is great to have. You want youth. You want to be able to build these players up and have as many quote unquote homegrown stars as you possibly can. But there is a downside to it. And it's that they don't have the experience in situations like this to be able to reach down and make the plays they need to make.
Let's talk about this, because everybody wanted to talk about a curse, including some, media members in town too. I'm going to tell you why let's talk about it. Is San Diego cursed? Is it a curse? I don't believe that to be the case. I'm going to tell you why when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. All guests on 97 through the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, we're talking about like what happened this weekend. It was not great. We're going to talk about the Aztecs in a second. That was mostly on them than anything else. They had an opportunity on Saturday to win a very important football game on the road. San Diego State has proven this year that they have a hard time playing on the road. All three of their losses came on the road. At Washington State, where they didn't look competitive at all. At Hawaii, where they didn't look competitive at all. And they lost an overtime game against New Mexico. That's the first overtime game San Diego State has played in the Sean Lewis era. I don't know. San Diego State needs to be able to find a quarterback, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, Denical did an okay job this year, but he's not great. And with Southern California being loaded with talent and loaded with players that could potentially be quarterbacks. I mean, right now, and I'm not saying San Diego State was never going to get Julian Sayin, but the quarterback on the best team in America right now in college football is from Carlsbad. So just think about that for a second. We have players in town that are current quarterbacks that are going to D1 schools. Like Brady Palmer was committed to Cal. He just made his decision over the weekend. He's now committed to Minnesota. He'll be a Golden Gopher, as Frank would say.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to him. Cash Herrera was committed to Iowa. He's committed to Indiana. He just decommitted. I don't know where he's going to be. Troy Hune apparently hasn't made his decision yet. I thought he already did, but he's going to make his decision between Virginia Tech and Penn State. I mean, these are quarterbacks that are here in San Diego. There are other quarterbacks in San Diego that are very good, that are probably more San Diego State's level. There are quarterbacks in the IE that are probably more San Diego State's level. There's quarterbacks in Orange County that are really good that can play at San Diego State. I mean, I'm going to find out on Friday how good the Los Alamitos quarterback is. He has no offers, and he's had a good year. Maybe he's a guy. I know San Diego State just offered the quarterback from Frontier who played at Lincoln not too long ago and had a pretty good season. I mean, there's quarterbacks around in Southern California, and I think with the way that the offense has been with San Diego State, they'll be able to change some of those things. Now, let's talk about this curse that everybody's talking about. Because that's what I you know what? A good friend of the show, big UCSD supporter, our guy Derek, he posted this, like, sadly, 50-plus years of this in all major sports. It never fails. I beg someone to prove me wrong. Always when it matters most. One of the most deserving fan bases in America. Never get too high or low anymore for big games as the outcome is assured. About the San Diego sports curse. The older I get, man, I'm not as old as a lot of you out there that have been watching this for 50-plus years. I've only been on this planet for 30. But I start to realize that maybe this is just being part of the media and seeing some things behind the scenes. I start to look at what went wrong for a lot of the San Diego teams, and you start to realize that maybe with some of the teams in the past, we were blinded at the success that they had, that they weren't actually going to win anything. Let's talk about, I mean, the most recent one, right? What's the most recent playoff appearance that was a huge deal? Aztecs basketball? Where they made the national championship?
Yeah, made the national title. Ran into that really, really good UConn team.
That San Diego State team was very good. That San Diego State team was not beating UConn. And guess who else wasn't beating UConn? Anybody else in the country.
Florida Atlantic for sure.
It wasn't a curse that caused San Diego State. They were physically not better than UConn. I mean, you were hoping for a David and Goliath moment where that's the one time, you know, UConn might play San Diego State 100 times and they win 99 of them. You were looking for that one time. Those are tough odds. Those are tough odds. That team was never going to win a national championship. You look back at other teams. I think of the Chargers' clarity now comes to mind a little bit more. I think about all those Charger teams. I mean, think about all the ones, and I'm not talking about the ones in LA. I'm talking about the ones that are here, that were here in San Diego. And I think a lot of people think about the one to me that was like a choke job was that 14-2 team for the Chargers. But as I look back at that organization, and you see, and you step away from the fandom a little bit, and you just view the Chargers as what they are, you will understand that they're an organization that will never win with the leadership they have. They will never win. I think a lot of us in town that were Charger fans before they left kind of pushed away all of the things that happened behind the scenes of the just, Dean Spanos wouldn't even say hi to people as they walk through the office. The little things. We talk about those report cards that all the owners don't like. Who usually fails a lot? The Chargers do.
Mm-hmm.
The cutting the corners, the not spending money in other ways, the not spending money on their players, the places they stayed. I mean, all of that stuff. Yes, they could have a salary cap and have to abide by certain things, but at the end of the day, if the organization is not run well and they cut corners, that's an organization that's never going to win. So you can look back at all those Charger teams and be like, they were never going to win. And they're still not going to win with that ownership group. It's like watching the Raiders play. The Raiders are never going to win with Mark Davis as their owner. They just never will because they'll never figure it out. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are an organization that will never win because they're so dumb and poorly run. Sure, they'll make a little bit of a run. They'll make some noise. Despite that, they're never going to win. That Bengals team that made it to the Super Bowl, we all knew they were never going to win that game. I look back to that Super Bowl that the Chargers played in 94 against the Niners. That was before a salary cap. That tells you everything you need to know. They were never going to compete with a team that was loaded like the Niners and could spend unlimited funds for their teams. You knew they were never going to win that game. You had that rose-colored glasses, the light blue and gold-colored glasses, thinking they might have a chance because you're a fan and we buy into it. But that's another historical team for the Niners. No salary cap back then. And the salary cap they did have, if they would even call it that, was so minuscule. That Niners team had all the best players. You look at a lot of the Padre, seasons they've had. Aside from 2022, which, by the way, we all knew they didn't have enough pitching, right, Frank? In 2022, I mean, they were rolling out Sean Manaea and Mike Clevenger. And we thought, they were going to be able to make it happen. You buy in and you hope for the best, but that wasn't a team that was built to win a World Series. They were still missing some points. You look back before this ownership group, and this ownership group has given you the best opportunity to win. You look back at the previous owners the Padres have had. I mean, they were never going to win with those ownership groups. The lack of funds. It's about 98, all you want. That Yankees team is the best team money could buy in 1998.
Yeah,
People think
no
that was the best
chance.
Yankees team they've ever had. And you got guys like, guys got like Gomez Chris Gomez playing shortstop, hitting under 200. Like Rene Rivera coming off the bench. I mean, that team was good, but they weren't going to be able to beat the Yankees. Shot on full display.
Someone asked a very nice question in the chat. So the Marlon McCree fumble is on ownership.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I
Everything
know
about
it's not.
that
I know.
year. I mean, you just know that they're never going to win. They're never going to win. Eventually something's going to get screwed up. When you're a part of organizations and part of teams, you can see how things, when you don't take care of the little things and you don't put everything together, you're not going to have a championship level team. And you start to see that a little bit more. If you start looking back at all of the problems a lot of those teams have had that everybody thought was going to be the for sure team, they all had something wrong. And there's something that was holding it back. It wasn't a curse. It just was not a team that was good enough to win a championship.
And again, for San Diego FC this year, which is where this conversation all started, their biggest weakness this year was outside of Anders Dreyer. They had no goal scoring. They had no goal scoring. That short window.
We talked about that all season, about someone to help Anders Dreyer out in the striker position.
Where injuries allowed Milan Ilowski to get out there and do what he did. Scored 3 goals, scored a hat trick in Vancouver in 20 minutes. That is the only time San Diego FC had a genuine striker worth fearing. all season, where Inter Miami have goal scorers all over the field. They put up 5 goals against New York City FC. You were not beating that team. There was no shot. You were not beating Lionel Messi. You were not beating Luis Suarez. That was not happening. You ran into Thomas Muller, who wasn't even on the goal sheet for Vancouver on Saturday night. That is a genuine striker, especially in this league, worth fearing. San Diego FC never had that this year. Period.
I look back at some of the other, Charger teams, right? And people are like, well, is that ownership? Well, what ownership does is they make decisions on hiring. And if they hire incompetent people that also hire incompetent people, it works its way down. It starts from the top. The fish stinks from the head. I mean, this wasn't that same year, but what was the year? Was that, maybe it was the same year. I can't remember because it starts blending together all of these Charger collapses that I think a lot of people really are the reason of the San Diego curse. Didn't they go out? Who was it? Was it Vincent Jackson? Wasn't there like some receivers and some players that went out partying the night before and Phillip Rivers had to pick them up on the way to the game the next day?
Oh, God.
That is stuff. That is culture right there. That is organizational culture.
Yeah, that is a culture problem.
So, yes, that is on ownership because at some point in time, there was a hire of some more importance, either the player that you brought in or the guy that found him or the one that is at the beginning, or sorry, at the top with the ownership group that said, this is okay.
And that culture can have a lasting effect because you remember the infamous yacht picture in 2017 with the Giants, with Odell Beckham and all of them on the yacht. The Giants are 42, 101, and 1 since that picture was taken. They have been the worst team in the NFL in the 8 years since that picture was taken.
Right.
So that kind of stuff can linger and last.
When you make hirings, those are the decisions that go part of this. If you're deciding to hire a coach that might be a little bit cheaper in the grand scheme of things, or you try to cut corners at other spots, it catches up to you eventually. You could talk about the New England Patriots and the culture that they had. I mean, they had arguably, I think it was a perfect match of Bill Belichick and the culture that he ran and Tom Brady being an elite player and players that would go in there and set the. When you have the leadership at the top and the player leadership, you're going to have a really successful team. You think the New England Patriots guys were out there partying the night before games? Absolutely not.
God, no.
Absolutely not. Hey, sure, yeah, good old Norv Turner, great offensive mind, no discipline, players coach, results speak for themselves. It's more than just a curse, guys. It's not even a curse. You could start thinking about it and start breaking it down for all of these teams that you loved, that you thought was going to win, that you think choked it away, and you could blame the San Diego curse all you want, or you could sit there and be like, this team was never going to get it done, or there's a culture problem. Now, San Diego FC, they had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
Right? Phenomenal year.
From top to bottom, it was the perfect
backup
start.
goalkeeper. They didn't have all the weapons. They were going everything through Anders Dreyer. I mean, they were able to make up. They achieved more than they probably should have. That's not a San Diego curse. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get your phone calls on it. Some people agree. Some people don't. You could break out every single problem that these San Diego teams have had that have failed to win a championship and find reasons that are more than just they built the stadium on a burial ground they weren't supposed to. It's more than a curse. Sometimes it's accountability. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 through the fan is brought to you by IHOP, introducing the IHOP value menu where all your breakfast faves are just $6 each every day. Where else can you get a big filling sit-down breakfast for only $6. Go to your Happy Plates with the $6 IHOP value menu. Available every day at IHOP, $7 in some locations. Stars have to, I remember I was told this, my dad told me this a long time ago. And the thing is, it's especially for like football, but it could be applied to a lot of different sports. Stars have to align for you to win a championship at the professional level. It's very difficult to do. You need to make it through without injuries or the least amount of injuries as possible. You need to have guys performing at their highest level. You need to be able to get on a roll at the right time. You got to get the favorable schedule. I mean, there's so many things that have to align for you to win a championship. A lot of the best teams don't win sometimes. And a lot of the times that San Diego has gone up as a good team, they've run into arguably some of the best teams throughout history. That 1984 Tigers team was one of the best Tigers teams to ever exist. That 1998 Yankees team was probably the best Yankees team to ever exist. That 1994 49ers team, probably one of the best 49ers teams to ever exist. I mean, those are three of the more professional spots. You talk about from college football perspective, or sorry, college athletics. I mean, San Diego State in the national championship took on a loaded UConn team. One that nobody was going to beat. And sometimes that is the case. I mean, a lot of the times San Diego's gone up against really good teams. And if you're going against a team that's better than you and they win, you're not cursed. It's not a curse. And you can point to a lot of different things where the San Diego team was the favorite. And you can look back at, well, these were some of the weaknesses that they weren't necessarily the best team to win it all that year. Marlon McCree hangs on to the ball. Chargers probably, do they win the Super Bowl? I mean, it's not a guarantee. I bet you they probably had a good chance. But you knew at some point in time, the way that organization was run, they were probably going to screw it up one way or the other. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Longtime local in town. Joining us. And the first caller of the day, Juan in Oceanside. You believe in the curse? Yes or no?
I do not. Pretty much everything you said was exactly what I thought this weekend, especially with what Frank said about the curse being kind of just used as like cope, and it just takes away from what San Diego FC was able to do. And it's just really frustrating to see people just always, chalk it up to a curse because sometimes you're just outmatched. And it's just one of those things where maybe we're just not all the way there yet. I think that kind of happens a lot with the Padres where we're a cursed franchise. Sometimes you just get outclassed by the better team.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you just get outclassed by the other team. And that happens. I mean, if you look back at some of the teams that the San Diego teams have played, they're just they're better. They were just flat out better. Talk about Cinderella story all you want. Those don't happen all the time. So, no, there's not a curse. I don't think there's a San Diego curse. I've lived here long enough. I mean, I used to buy into it. I mean, when you take a step back and see it for it really is, you can understand why a lot of these organizations have lost games. And you go back and look at the little things. San Diego FC accomplished more than they should have in their first year. And it was a really remarkable year. And I think a lot of people in town can't wait for February to get started to see the next season, Frank.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I say to label this as just, oh, they're another victim of the curse, just completely devalues everything that they did. That was the biggest issue. That was the biggest talking point with an MLS team coming here was how are they going to do against the Padres? Because it's inevitable. They're going to play on the same day in the same city at some point. And again, I know I keep going back to it and I keep beating this dead horse, but you had the Dodgers here and you filled up both buildings. That to me just shows that is the success of San Diego FC this season. And that means more to me as a fan, and it would mean more to me working for San Diego FC to win the MLS than to win the MLS Cup. We took the Padres' best punch Padres had the Dodgers here fighting for first place, and we had a full building too at the exact same time.
Which shows how great of a sports city it is, being able to support both at the same time, right?
Yes.
And now with the new schedule for the MLS, it's not going to be as bad. It'll be early on in the San Diego FC season, and you're not having to have like playoff games compete against each other, which is going to be great. I think it's going to be a year-round thing, but I think it was a great successful season for San Diego FC. It didn't work out, and I do agree. Like, it doesn't matter unless you win the whole thing, but for an expansion team to do what they did, it was pretty remarkable. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973 as we get some of your phone calls here on a lot of the deals. I just feel like, I think it's an easy coping mechanism for a lot of people to say, like, the team's cursed, instead of just saying, you know what? They didn't have enough dogs to go out there and win. They didn't have enough guys. They didn't have you got your backup goalkeeper in there. Say the same thing about San Diego State. I think San Diego State football had a remarkable season. Came up short over the weekend, but they've had a lot of problems with their offense the last handful of weeks. They were kind of making their way, and you're hoping for the best sometimes, but San Diego State football had a great year. Wasn't good enough for a Mountain West championship. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about that in the next hour. Let's get to David in San Diego. David, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Oh, yes. I'm a native San Diegan, Charger fan until they left. I think the demise was back in 2006 when they had the incident with Stephen Foley, the linebacker that was followed from downtown all the way to his house. They thought he was accused of drunk driving by an off-duty Coronado police officer. He got shot 3 times, which ended his career. But I think the Spanoses were done after that incident. There was like the writing on the wall. They didn't want to, to go for it, basically. So I just want your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't remember that particular story. That was a long time ago before, what did you say? 2006?
Yeah, 2006.
I have to double check that stuff. 2006, I was 11. So I don't know if that was the case. I just, we're talking about whether or not there's a curse in San Diego. I don't believe there is. I'm going to sit here and talk you off the ledge on a lot of the things.
I think the point that he was trying to make was, as far as like the Chargers and their downfall and any success being
they wanted to stop trying at that point.
Yeah, that the success after that just being purely coincidental was kind of the point when the Spanoses started to say, you know what, maybe who really cares about that much?
Maybe.
I don't think that was more related to the curse. I think that was more just pinpointing a point where the Spanoses were like, maybe not.
I think it comes down to the leadership of the organizations for a lot of these problems. You talk about the Spanos family that didn't want to do any type of upkeep around their facilities, never wanted to improve Qualcomm Stadium, never wanted to improve they just wanted a bunch of free handouts all the time. If you got an ownership group that's going to do that and not going to put a bunch of resources into the organization, you're going to get bad results. Look at the difference. Think about the upkeep the Padres do on Petco Park. It's great. It's phenomenal. They continue to make it the best ballpark in Major League Baseball instead of sitting there waiting for the city to do it. They've made the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years. To me, you basically should start the history of San Diego sports with this new the organization that is currently in charge of the Padres, because if you think back to some of the other ownership groups, you're talking about some of the worst owners in sports. There was a couple good owners mixed in there, but you talking about Donald Sterling owning the Clippers? That guy was a disaster. Spanos family, disaster. Those organizations are never going to win like that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Dexter in Spring Valley, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Dexter?
Hey, how's it going, fellas? Really quick, I think that the Chrome hasn't been established to be part of a curse here in this town.
I agree.
This is their first year. And, the majority of us were kind of like going, 500? Awesome. But the very fact that they got to where they got was like they basically were playing with house money. They played above their heads. And I think that was a good thing. But it also put the rest of MLS unnoticed. So that to me, yeah, they're not cursed. Not yet, anyways. I mean, if Chucky Lozano continues his nonsense and stuff, that potentially could become part of the curse, the city's curse. But the curse usually has to do with something, you know what I mean, to buy into it, like something stupid.
Right.
So, and they haven't done anything stupid yet, as far as I know.
I agree, Dexter. I will sit there and poke the holes in this curse. Sometimes you got to look deep into the organization and go, are things being run well? And I think the organizations here in town are being run a lot better than what they have been in a lot of years past. When we come back, what happened with Aztec football over the weekend?
Hey, it's Gravy, and if
You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We do want to talk about Aztecs football, but we also want to dive into some other rumors about Major League Baseball. So we got a lot of that. We usually like to get to that on the 11 o'clock hour. So I think we're going to do that. Let's get to the big signings made over the weekend. It's our usual hot stove update at 11 a.m. every single day during the Padres offseason. What do we got on the stove today, Frank?
So I kind of split this up because I figured that the two signings were going to take the whole segment. Dylan Cease has signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. This happened, I believe, just like an hour or two after our show ended on Wednesday. The Blue Jays have shaken up the offseason by agreeing to a 7-year, $210 million contract with star right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease, the largest free agent deal in the history of the franchise. Cease is one of the top pitchers available, bringing front-of-the-rotation talent and impressive durability, having thrown 165 innings and recorded 200-plus strikeouts in each of his last 5 seasons. Although his 2024 season with the Padres was uneven with a 4.55 ERA, his 2025, I believe you meant to say, his elite strikeout ability, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and dominant slider give Toronto a high upside arm to build around as they chase a World Series title. The Blue Jays believe their coaching staff can help elevate his already strong performance, similar to past success with pitchers like Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios.
I saw the price. He's getting $30 million a year, right?
Yeah.
You know what? He might be worth $30 million a year for Toronto and their rotation. I don't think he's worth $30 million a year to the Padres and their rotation. I saw the beef going on social media. Did you see the beef between Padres fans and Blue Jays fans?
No.
Blue Jays fans think this is like the greatest signing in the world because look at our rotation, look at the Padres rotation, and they want to pop off and say that this is not the greatest signing ever. Don't be upset that you just lost one of your best starters. It's like,
okay,
all right, dude. Like, we're warning you. I have no beef with the Blue Jays, nor the Blue Jays fans, but what I've seen out of Dylan Cease the last 2 years is not worth $30 million a year for the next 7 years.
No.
It's physically not. And I just, you know what? Right but too early seems to be the case on the show a lot. Come back to me in July. Now, if he goes out there and dominates, good for him. I think a lot of Padres fans will be upset about that, but you know what? Maybe the Blue Jays have a pitching staff and coaching staff that could get Dylan Cease right. The way he was trending and the direction he was trending in his last year with the White Sox into what was a good season for him as a Padre in year one, into last season for Dylan Cease, I don't understand why you would give him $30 million a year. I don't think he's worth that kind of money. But you know what? Good for him. He got his big contract that he was waiting for. The Blue Jays have a good rotation. But if Ruben Niebla couldn't fix Dylan Cease, I don't know how the Blue Jays are going to be able to do it.
If I may play devil's advocate for a moment here, didn't Padre fans say the same thing about Blake Snell?
They did say the same thing about Blake Snell.
And what happened? He did everything that Padre fans said he couldn't do. So
he wasn't very good in San Francisco.
No, he was not. And he bailed out of there very, very quickly. But last year, I mean, he had injury issues, but then coming off of those injury issues, did everything that Padre fans said he couldn't do. And to be fair, Tampa Bay fans said he couldn't do. So I wish Dylan Cease all the best of luck. No ill will towards him. He had a memorable 2024 season here. 2025 was not the greatest. Congratulations, bud. Congratulations on getting the bag.
Can you tell me how many innings Blake Snell threw last year for the Dodgers, though?
It wasn't a lot.
It was 60.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it wasn't a lot.
He went 5-4 with a 2.35 ERA in 60 innings. Until he does that over 100 innings.
Oh, I
can't sit there and be like, told you so.
Like I said, it was just a devil's advocate argument. You could say that, well, Blake Snell pitched past 5 innings in the playoffs multiple times.
Yeah, he's fresh. He only threw 60 innings in the season.
He threw a complete game. He threw a no-hitter with San Francisco. I'm just saying
that might be worth $35 million a year to the Dodgers. But any other organization can't pay $35 million a year for 60 innings. They can't do it.
Did I say the Padres should have spent the $30 million on Dylan Cease? No, I did not.
No, but you were saying that he proved Padres fans wrong, which in reality he didn't really do that.
I said it was
devil's
advocate
you want to play
argument.
devil's advocate, I'm going to fight back with some conversation about how I disagree.
Good.
I mean,
Part of me playing the devil's advocate role is proving how that's not a valid argument to bring up.
This proves that what the Dodgers do, nobody else can do.
That's also
because you cannot at no other organization can afford to pay. And what is his contract? What is he getting? $30-something million a year?
Let me bring it up.
He's getting he's $31 million a year towards the luxury tax. He's getting $36 million this year.
No,
you know what you can't do? Pay $36 million for 60 innings. No organization can do that and justify the you can't. You can't do that. So, we'll see what Dylan Cease has. At least Dylan Cease posts, right? At least Dylan Cease posts. All right? The guy throws 200 innings every year. So, the Blue Jays are going to get a lot of innings out of him, but they play in a very hitter-friendly league. Not just the Rogers Center. That entire league is very hitters-friendly. You're talking about Camden Yards. You're talking about the Rogers Center. You're talking about Fenway. You're talking about Yankee Stadium. Trop's got a roof back on it. I'm telling you, good luck, Blue Jays fans.
It
might be worth $30 million a year for you. It's not for anybody else.
Speaking of Camden Yards, the Orioles have agreed to a 2-year deal, $28 million with all-star closer Ryan Helsley, giving Baltimore a proven ninth-inning arm while Felix Bautista recovers from shoulder surgery and is expected to miss most of the 2026 season. Helsley, 31, has been one of MLB's top relievers in recent seasons, highlighted by a 49-save, 2.04 ERA campaign in 2024. Though he struggled after being traded to the Mets in 2025 before finishing strong, Baltimore continues an aggressive offseason after a disappointing 2025, having already added outfielder Taylor Ward, center field depth in Leody Taveras, and setup man Andrew Kittredge. With the closer role now being addressed, the Orioles' next major priority is upgrading their struggling starting rotation with multiple additions.
They're not going to have Helsley try to do it?
Wasn't
that one of the rumors?
Yeah, that was one of the rumors, was to move Helsley to the starting rotation, which he did do in AAA.
I'm curious to see. I mean, if they get So he got a $14 million deal.
Yes, 14.
And then $14 million player option. So it's really
it's a 1-year deal with an option,
which he'll probably take. And the option, here's the thing with the option. Like most bullpen guys aren't getting like $14 million a year, $17 million a year. Like he's not gonna be so lights out as a closer. He's going to take that.
And
I
again,
think that player option.
And again, he's not the closer there. Felix Bautista is.
Yeah, but he's hurt.
No, I know. So when Bautista comes back, that value of him being the 9th inning guy and being the closer is gone.
No,
he's an 8th inning guy.
The $14 million. The only reason why he would not take that, or why he like the player option, he's going to take that. The only reason why he would not take that is if he is a starting pitcher.
Correct. Yeah.
Because he's going to get at least $20 million a year being a starting pitcher. So I think the fact that they got the player option in there, I would not be surprised if they try him out to be a starter. And because they need starters more than they need bullpen help. I mean, they need all the pitching help. But to me, I think that shows that they might give him a chance to be a starting pitcher. And if that's the case, I mean, that's a good play by Baltimore. $14 million a year for a starting pitcher. Like that's a solid value piece for the Baltimore Orioles. And here, if you're Baltimore, you see if he could be a starting pitcher. And if he can't, you got a really good bullpen arm. A little probably expensive bullpen arm. But then you potentially have a 8th inning guy to go with your 9th inning guy in Bautista. But now, he's you're saving money on the Bautista. I mean, Bautista's only getting $2.25 million this year.
Yeah.
He already signed his deal to avoid arbitration. So.
And a lot of and I believe Baltimore's going to get a lot of that back in insurance too. So.
Well, the other thing too is most closers are getting like 17 to 19, maybe $20 million. Like
right, and that's
you got an 8th inning guy and a 9th inning guy for $16 million.
And that was my point with why him losing that value when Bautista comes back is, you would have to take that because the 8th inning guy is not as valuable as the 9th inning guy. So he's definitely going to opt into that player option.
The only way he doesn't opt into the player option is if he becomes a starting pitcher. That's
Correct.
The only way he won't. He's going to accept that.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway,
do you want to go to the next ones or do you want to save those for the next segment?
We got some time. Let's get to it. What else we got?
All right. So
San
Francisco Giants, as we had predicted last week, have been linked to Tatsuya Imai. The Giants are among several MLB teams showing interest in Japanese right-hander Tatsuya Imai, who was recently posted by the Cebu Lions. Imai, 27, has drawn comparisons to Kodai Senga and features an upper 90s fastball with a deep pitch mix. Other interesting clubs include the Blue Jays, Cubs, Mets, Red Sox, Yankees, and potentially the Dodgers, though Imai has said he'd prefer to compete against LA rather than join them. San Francisco could use
for what it's worth.
Exactly. San Francisco could use another frontline starter behind Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, though they may also explore more budget-friendly options as they reshape their rotation under Buster Posey and new manager Tony Vitello.
Based on the stipulations of what we think Amai wants. Now, he didn't say anything about playing on the West Coast, but a lot of the Japanese players like playing on the West Coast. A lot easier to get home and everything like that. So if you throw that in, which is not what he said, but competing against the Dodgers and, wanting to, not having to have to be on a team with other Japanese players and all this other stuff, the Giants are the perfect fit. Maybe even the Seattle Mariners. Those are the two, to me, that are the perfect fit for Amai based on what he has said. Now, a lot of players have said a lot of different things when it comes to who they want to sign with, and then they go and sign wherever the money is, right? It's like Kevin Brown. I want to be closer to home in Cincinnati. So I can't sign with the Padres, but I'll sign with the Dodgers, and that's closer to home to Cincinnati. Players can say what they want to try to win over public opinion, but at the end of the day, dollar bill, y'all, and that's what it's going to come down to. So if the Dodgers offer a ton of money and Amai signs there, nobody should be shocked that he did that.
No, I would agree with that. Once again, the Cardinals are shopping Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals' trade of Sonny Gray to Boston is expected to be the first of several moves this offseason. According to The Athletic, St. Louis is now focused on exploring trade offers for Nolan Arenado and potentially one of their more controllable left-handed hitters including Brendan Donovan and Alec Burleson, though it would take a strong offer to move either one. They may also listen on Lars Nootbaar and Nolan Gorman, but their trade value is limited due to injury for Nootbaar and strikeout concerns for Nolan Gorman. The team is also hoping to find a trade partner for Wilson Contreras, who, like Arenado, holds a full no trade clause, with new baseball operations president Cham Bloom looking to rebuild the farm system. The Gray trade appears to be the beginning of a larger roster reset. We're in rebuild mode in San Diego.
That'd be Heimblum.
Cool.
He's Jewish. Heimblum.
I didn't ask.
Yes, well, that's how you pronounce that.
That's cool.
Adam gave me the rundown.
I'll remember that for the next 5 seconds.
Heimblum. We talked about this. The Cardinals need to get rid of Arenado and Contreras. That's where all their money is.
Yeah.
If they want to go full rate, I mean, and the fact that they only have 2 players under contract with high money contracts, and they're both free agents in 2028. I mean, Contreras has a club option for $17.5 million. I don't think a lot of teams are taking that. They got to try to trade away Arenado and Contreras. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, the only way to do that is by throwing in somebody else that might be good.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, where the Cardinals currently sit, this is the best time to just flip those guys out and start over. Because to be honest with you, I agree with what Buster Olney said a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be a season where the Cincinnati Reds outspend the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
And the Cardinals need a reset. All of their, they had a great run with Pujols and Molina and Matt Carpenter and like all these aging guys. And then they got too old, right? They had Jason Hayward for a while.
And a lot of their young guys like Jordan Walker have not worked out.
Right. It's time to start cutting bait with some of these. I mean, They had Arenado and Goldschmidt, like older players. It's time to reset. If you're St. Louis and it's just trying to find a partner for Arenado and Contreras, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to do it, but I think they're going to have to eat some money, and they have money to eat. I mean, their estimated payroll next year is $108 million. They can eat some of the money to get rid of those players. But you know what? I would be, if the Cardinals do what they need to do going into the season, for it to be a successful season for the Cardinals, Arenado and Contreras are not getting introduced on opening day.
Correct.
They can't. So it's got to be interesting to watch how the Cardinals play this out.
You said Heimblum?
Heimblum.
Okay.
Heimblum.
I'm finding out, and it really is bothering me. I am very bad with names now. That never used to be a problem with me.
Well,
like
CHAIM doesn't look like Heim.
No, it does not.
So
that doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
But like I was telling you about the coaches, the Carlsbad coaches that I was talking to before the Open Championship game, I could not tell you their names, period. Right now. And again, it's not because I wasn't paying attention. It's not because I didn't want to know. It's because I just can't. It's bothering me a lot that I'm becoming as bad with names as I am.
Think Lane Kiffin's going to be good with names in Baton Rouge?
We'll talk about that later.
The Lane Kiffin saga is hilarious to me. It's so funny. But we're going to focus on our own college football problems, and that's San Diego State. Aztecs fail to win the game against New Mexico. They get hosed a little bit when it comes to the overall seeding for the Mountain West Championship game. I don't really understand what the Mountain West was doing. That's a separate entity, but we're going to talk about both of those things when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Someone Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 through the Fan is brought to you by Mission Fed. From first accounts to big life moments, Mission Fed can help. Savings shouldn't be stressful. Mission Fed makes it easier with great rates on savings certificates and ultra money market accounts. Grow your money the smart way. Check the latest rates on open an account at missionfed.com. Membership and account criteria apply. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right. Couple of things to unpack today when it comes to Aztec football. We're going to get your phone calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about first, at the Mountain West, I don't know how entities, I just, college athletics and the people that run conferences blow my mind all the time. And the people in charge of college football blow my mind with some of the stupidity that is put together when it comes to seeding playoffs, when it comes to rules in place, when it comes to who makes certain games. It is beyond stupid. A lot of things when it comes to conferences and all this BS that all circles around money and all this other stuff. And that leaks into the Lane Kiffin conversation. We're going to talk about that later on because I see both sides of that story. And as dumb as the Mountain West Conference is for the rules that they have in place, I got to start with Saturday and from San Diego State's responsibility perspective. Losing the final game when you had an opportunity to host the Mountain West Championship game. San Diego State loses 23-17 in New Mexico in double overtime. The first thing that sticks out to me in this game is the fact that San Diego State had a false start 3 plays in a row in overtime. How do you false start 3 times in a row? It's baffling to me how that's possible. Aztecs and New Mexico. I mean, Jaden Denegal, I know, and the offensive coordinator for San Diego State was on early in the season with Gwynn and Griss. And he talked about how, he hasn't really had a lot of opportunities to play. This is kind of like his freshman year. I mean, Jaden Denegal was 14 for 24, 162, a touchdown and a pick. Had 7 carries for 8 yards. I'm watching the final couple minutes of that game. San Diego State is tied at 17 with under a couple of minutes to go on their final drive, right? It wasn't even that. I think they had more time than I thought. But I'm talking about the end of the fourth quarter. And they're moving the ball. I mean, Lucky Sutton is gashing New Mexico. Gashing New Mexico. And all of a sudden, you're thinking, all they need is a field goal. All they need is a field goal. I got to pull up the drive just to double check the exact details of this. I'm talking the final drive of the Aztecs. They get the ball. They got the ball multiple times with the tie, by the way. I mean, the defense played their ass off in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter between New Mexico and San Diego State, punt, 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 end of the game. The offense had their chances, but they got the ball back. 1st and 10 at their own 36-yard line with 3:15 to go. And the Aztecs just needed a field goal to win the game. Christian Washington rips off 7 yards. They go no huddle. 2:37 left in the fourth quarter. They give the ball to Lucky Sutton. He rips off 11 yards on 2nd and 3. Now it's 1st and 10 for the Aztecs at the New Mexico 46-yard line. They got one of the best field goal kickers in the country. 4-yard rush on 1st and 10. It's 2nd and 6 with $1:20 to go at the New Mexico 42-yard line. They go no huddle shotgun. They get the ball back to Lucky on 2nd and 6 after a 4-yard run down to the 42. They get stuffed, and now it's 3rd and 6 at the New Mexico 42-yard line. And the one thing that you can't do is take a sack. The one thing you can't do is take a sack. New Mexico had been doing it the entire second half, blitzing the house. San Diego State looked like they were ill-prepared for a blitz, and Denegal takes a 6-yard loss on a sack with 45 seconds left in the contest on 3rd and 6. Gets it back to New Mexico 48-yard line. It puts them completely out of field goal range, and now San Diego State has to punt. They're able to hold New Mexico on 4 plays to end the half, and then 1st and 10, first play of the contest in overtime, Denegal throws a pick, which should be death for the Aztecs. Instead, New Mexico fumbles because both teams apparently don't want to be able to win. Great job by the Aztecs defense to force the fumble. And then New Mexico, 1 play, touchdown. And this is just the chaotic part. You get 1st and 10, no yard gain, an incomplete pass. You get a 15-yard run by Denegal. And then you go on 1st and goal for the New Mexico 10, false start. 1st and goal to New Mexico 15, false start. 1st and goal to New Mexico 20, false start. So now it's 1st and goal to New Mexico 25-yard line. Now all of a sudden you're starting overtime over, but now you can't get a first down. You have 4 plays to try to score from the 25-yard line. That'll go get sacked on 2nd and goal. At 1st and goal, you get a 6-yard run. That'll go get sacked and fumbles and recovers his own fumble on 2nd and goal. On 3rd and goal, you take another sack. And then on 4th and goal, you throw the ball at the back of the end zone. And that's it. I mean, every opportunity in the world in the 4th quarter and overtime to win the game. And San Diego State failed to do so on offense. And then it put into this chaotic situation of whether or not they were going to be in the Mountain West Championship game. I thought San Diego State's season was great. I thought San Diego State had a good season of winning 9 games. I thought they'd win 8 games this year. They exceeded my expectations, which are way over what everybody else's expectations were for Aztecs football this year. So you can't take away from that. But the Aztecs in the offseason, they got to be able to find a way to improve their O-line, and they got to get a quarterback. But it was a missed opportunity. Now, that's set up for what I think the dumbest format to try to figure out who was in the Mountain West Championship game. The Mountain West Championship game is going to have Boise State and UNLV in it. The biggest gripe, and who should have the biggest gripe, is New Mexico. If I'm New Mexico, I'm fuming right now going, what do we have to do to get in this championship game? You had a 4-way tie with Boise State, San Diego State, New Mexico, and UNLV.
Where's the game being played again?
Boise State.
Oh.
The tie-breaking scenarios for the Mountain West is beyond dumb. I'm going to tell you what happened with the computer decisions when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 11:40. On the Braden Surprenant show. Let's talk about the Aztec football over the weekend. I mean, overall, Aztecs should have taken care of business on their own. This is what we talked about the last couple of weeks of the season for San Diego State. If you beat these teams and control your own destiny, it's a lot better because you don't have to worry about this chaos that we knew was going to happen, Frank. We thought this was going to be the chaos for second place.
Yep.
Instead, San Diego State put themselves in this chaos and then got themselves out of the Mountain West Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Even go back to Coach Lewis's post-game press conference. They knew they were going to be in the game. They thought so. But based on computer rankings, all of a sudden they're not in. And here's the deal. This is what doesn't make any sense about this. So they determined that UNLV will play at Boise State for the Mountain West Championship game. And to me, the team that's got the biggest gripe is probably New Mexico. Because you look at the tie-breaking scenarios, and the tie-breaking rules don't make any sense. You pull out the Big 12 tie-breaking rules, and it's a lot simpler. But for the Mountain West Conference, they go to a head-to-head and a mini round robin, right? So you got to compare all four teams. The problem is San Diego State didn't play UNLV, and that lies a bigger problem of college football where, I don't know, maybe it wasn't a great idea to just have everybody go 1 through 16 in your conference in the standings. Because guess what? What did all these conferences do? What did they, just like everything else in college athletics, they became what, Frank? Starts with a G and ends with a Y. Greedy.
That's the word.
They all got greedy. Because you had these divisions that are like, well, this isn't fair because, we should have Ohio State playing Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. And think about all the money we would make doing this. Everything's about ratings and money, and you can't. It might work one year, but every conference going to the top two teams should be in this gigantic thing in order to make the championship game, which, by the way, I think is dumb in general. In this day and age of college athletics and college football, why do they have championship games? Oh, I don't know. Money, probably. But all of the conferences copying what the Big Ten did and like, oh, we're going to eliminate divisions because, all our good teams are in one division, and it's not fair. What do you mean it's not fair? Is it not fair, or is Fox complaining that they can't have Michigan, Ohio State for a second time, or they can't have Penn State, Ohio State for a second time? They're tired of watching Northwestern play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Well, you know what? That's how it is. Some years it's great, some years it's not. But the problem with this is you run into the situation where you got a 4-team tie in the Mountain West Conference, and guess who didn't play everybody? UNLV didn't play everybody. UNLV only played 2 games against the tied teams. Boise State, New Mexico, San Diego State, and UNLV all tied at 6-2. UNLV didn't beat a single team in that group of 4. And what saved them was they didn't play San Diego State. So all of a sudden they factor out the little mini round robin that they did. Boise State lost to San Diego State. They beat New Mexico and they beat UNLV. So they went 2-1. New Mexico beat UNLV, beat San Diego State, lost to Boise State. They went 2-1. San Diego State went 1-1 because they didn't play UNLV, and UNLV went 0-2. Just from that perspective, to me, it should be Boise State, New Mexico then.
Right, and that's how, if you look at the official Mountain West standings, that's how it is seeded. It is seeded Boise State, New Mexico State, San Diego State, and then UNLV.
Here's how they determine the head-to-head mini round robin. If one team beats all the others, that team advances. If one team is clearly the best record in these head-to-head games, it advances. If the teams all beat each other or they did not all play each other and no advantage appears, they stay tied. So what happened is Boise State and New Mexico had the same records. There was not a clear advantage. Again, you're trying to just find one to break through. And since they didn't all play each other, UNLV and San Diego State didn't play, it gets nullified and you move to the next deal, which is college football playoff ranking or computer metric composite. Really? That's the second best one you're going to do? college football playoff rank comes first. If some of the tied teams appear in the college football playoff rankings for November 25th, any tied team that is ranked and wins its final game gets priority. If multiple are ranked and all win, they take the 2 highest ranked. If the team loses its final game or is not ranked, then you use the composite computer metric average. These metrics include SP Plus from Connolly, ESPN Strength of Record, KPI, and Sports Source. Lower numerical ranking is better. This step always prioritizes college football playoff ranking over computer metrics. Once you identify 2 teams, those 2 advance to a 2-team tiebreaker procedure to determine who makes the title game or who hosts. And that's where you ran into Boise State and UNLV. You already know on some of these metrics, by the way, S&P Plus and ESPN Strength of Record, a lot of those factor in recruiting. They factor in your recruiting rankings. Are you kidding me? What are we doing? Doesn't make any sense. Then they got to, if head-to-head and ranking computers cannot separate them, then you compare overall record versus everyone, and only one FCS win is allowed to count. If all still tied, you go to step 4, which is record versus highest placed teams, which is, by the way, what all the other conferences do before they get to the computer rankings. Then they do winning percentage versus common opponents, and then they do a draw, where they would do basically a glorified coin toss. How do Power 4 conferences do it? Well, here's what the Big 12 championship tiebreaker policies do. The tied teams will be compared based on their head-to-head record during the season, just like the Mountain West. Letter B.
It's number B.
Number B. The tied teams will be compared based on win percentage against all common conference opponents. That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
That's what everybody with a brain does. What is the Mountain West doing? I bet you could go through if you just did the Big 12 tiebreaker procedures. It might have worked out for San Diego State.
They're working on number C is what they're doing.
Tied teams will be compared based on win percentage against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings based on the record in all games played within the conference proceeding through the standings. That's the other thing they do. They go, okay, all right, well, let's go through the standings. So what that would have been for San Diego State in the Mountain West. I had the standings here for a second. So then what they would do is those 4 teams get leveled out. You would compare how everybody did against the next highest team, which had been Fresno State. So pull up Fresno State's record, right? If they played everybody. This is where you get into problems with no divisions. Fresno State lost to the Aztecs. They beat Boise, and they didn't even play New Mexico or UNLV. And they got to keep going down the list before you can start eliminating teams in that particular deal. Then they compare everybody against Hawaii, which doesn't help San Diego State that much. Then in the Big 12, the tied teams will be compared based on combined win percentage in conference games of conference opponents. The tied teams will be compared based on total number of wins in a 12-game season. Then they get to letter F. The representative will be chosen based on highest ranking by Sports Source Analytics, team rating score following the last weekend of the regular season games. And then letter G, the representative will be chosen by coin toss. The Big 12, a conference that San Diego State should have tried to get in. Again, talked about this. I don't know, an actual conference that knows what they're doing. They have their computer Sports Source Analytics as the F group. The 6th tiebreaker. The Mountain West has it as their 2nd. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't understand. This is why the Mountain West Conference sucks. This is why they suck. And why, I don't know, how many teams are defecting from this loser conference? Boise State's leaving. San Diego State's leaving. Fresno State's leaving. Colorado State's leaving. Utah State's leaving. What an incompetent conference. Now, again, San Diego State probably shouldn't be in the Mountain West Championship game. New Mexico should. And if I'm New Mexico, I'm sitting there going we decided to stay in this conference? Oh, my God. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what people in charge of sports decision-making is. I don't get it.
That is another wrinkle to this. Boise State is leaving your conference.
I No.
Why, if you were going to screw anybody, you'd screw Boise State. You'd screw them for New Mexico. You'd put the two teams that are staying in your conference in the game.
And guess what? Guess what computer metrics do? The computer metrics with the recruiting rankings, which by the way are all biased, by the way, because it's people going like, well, I think this player is going to be an NFL player, so I'm going to give him a 5-star. Like the fact that that's factored into some of these computer rankings just shows how dumb these are. And they're talking like that's going to favor the brand schools. But the fact that is your second best, that is your second tiebreaker is a joke. And again, I'm going to keep saying this. New Mexico deserves to be in the Mountain West Championship game over San Diego State. They do. They beat them. San Diego State should have played better. But this is the chaos that I said, don't get yourself involved with. You can't get yourself involved with this because it's not going to work out for you. But the tie-breaking scenarios for the Mountain West Conference make absolutely zero sense.
Adam Paul in the chat directed my attention to this, at least. This is from the New Mexico Lobos, the athletic department, not the football program. This is from the athletic department. While we respect the tiebreaker procedures that the Mountain West has in place, including the computer metrics that determine the championship game participants, we are disappointed that our student athletes, winner of 6 straight games, and with victories over 2 of the league's top 3 teams, including San Diego State and UNLV, will not have the opportunity to compete for a championship next Friday. This team has earned that chance with its play. These young men showed up every week, put in the work, and proved they belong in the conversation. Their incredible turnaround on the field was matched by their renewed passion of our community, reflected in the top year-over-year attendance increase in the nation. Even with today's disappointment, we are extremely proud of this group. Coach Eck, who has signed a new 5-year deal, by the way, his staff, and our student athletes who delivered a season that has changed the trajectory of our program and reminded people across our state and around the country what Lobos football is capable of. What Coach Eck accomplished in one season in Albuquerque is truly remarkable, and there is no doubt that he should be a consideration for Coach of the Year. Our focus now turns to preparing for the program's first bowl appearance since 2016. The team earned that opportunity, and we look forward to finishing this season on a high. That is from Fernando Love, the Vice President and Director of Athletics.
Nice. Yeah, and then he's like, yada, 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 yada. We're so great. Yada, 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 yada. Whatever. It's stupid. The Mountain West is dumb. The Mountain West continues to be dumb. They're gonna screw more things up. And if you're San Diego State, can't wait to get out of this conference. Can't wait to get out of this conference. But this goes into a lot of different things. It goes into like the timeline. I mean, there's so many things wrong with college athletics right now, especially college football. And I think you saw that on full display with the whole Lane Kiffin saga. And we're going to talk about the Lane Kiffin stuff later on the show. I mean, Lane Kiffin, by the way, if you're an Ole Miss fan, I don't know why you thought this was going to end any different than what it ended the other day. He's done this before. You signed up for this. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you think you're a destination place in the SEC, I got bad news for you, bro. You're not. And it's going to continue to be like that. And guess what? LSU. You guys are going to be going through the exact same thing in the next 3 or 4 years if Lane has success and the Alabama job opens up. I'm telling you. This is what you did. This is what you did. You signed up to be part of the Lane train. The Lane train likes to make a lot of stops, and they'll kick people off the train.
And honestly, it's a move that Ole Miss knew was coming because they hired their defensive coordinator as their full-time coach, not an interim. So if you're hiring a full-time coach immediately after this is a move that the program knew was coming.
You have to know that. And there's a lot of stuff involved with this. It's true. I mean, the Bama job might open on Sunday. Look at the SEC standings. Alabama is in first place right now in the SEC. Is going to be playing the SEC championship game. They might lose, and they might fire Kalen DeBoer, or he might go take the Penn State job. And if he does, let's just say he does that. Alabama's looking for a new coach. Ole Miss in third place would be looking for a new coach. A&M had a great year, and Texas can't afford to pay Sark off. You go through the list, there's all these schools that are looking.
Lane Kiffin's going, wait a minute.
Arkansas looking for a new coach. Auburn looking for a new coach. Florida looking for a new coach. LSU looking for, just got a new coach, but was looking for one. Kentucky looking for a new coach. If Heupel goes to Penn State, they might be looking for a new coach. You're gonna get to a spot where half of the SEC is looking for a new coach. It's just the timeline of this is dumb. There's so many things you can fix. There's so many problems with college football. We're going to talk about the Lane Kiffin stuff later on. We're going to get to your phone calls, too. I know Kevin in Chula Vista wants to weigh in on Aztec Athletics. We're going to talk a lot about that as we get to the noon hour on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over on Sports Station 97 to the Fan.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. Want to remind you guys, remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97.3 The Fan. SD.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. We look forward to seeing that. Frank was in the suite the other day for the Survivor Series. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. Do you want to get your phone calls, though? 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. I'm currently trying to convince my friend to play co-ed softball tonight because we need a girl to play. It's rough. Slowly making progress, though. She's afraid to do it. And I said, you're a D1 athlete. It will be fine. You're probably better off than most out there.
Why is she afraid?
I don't know. She hasn't played softball in a long time.
Okay.
And play catcher. Make it simple. She's also a lefty, too, so we got to get her lefty glove. That's easy. That's Ryan at the park.
Is that really an excuse? I'm a lefty?
I need to find a lefty glove. I don't have one. I am a lefty, but I hit lefty. I throw righty, so I don't have a lefty glove.
No, I'm saying, was that really an
She
excuse
doesn't have a glove.
that she used?
She doesn't have a glove.
Okay.
She's like, do you have a lefty glove? I mean, I don't. I said, we'll find you one.
Yeah, that could be found.
It's not hard. So the guy runs the team shot. He's like, so she's in. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. All right, I think she is in. She's like, don't judge if I suck. I'm not going to. You know what? I got games tonight at 7 and 8, doubleheader for my brother's team, and then I got a game at 9, and now I got a game in the co-ed games at 10. That's 4 hours where she can go hit in the cage. See if she can figure it out. So we'll see how that goes. You want to go to the Sportsplex tonight? Want to see chaos?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I've got enough chaos at home.
You don't want to be there for 4 hours at the Poway Sportsplex?
Believe it or not,
No?
no.
Sam's going to be in there.
Especially if I'm going to be watching and not participating.
You know what? I think you got to maybe got to take some hacks in the cage before we, get you a contract. It's like getting a physical done. That's the slow pitch version. Go get some hacks in the cage. Go throw a pen. We'll get you to throw a pen out there. The best thing is if you can know how to pitch.
Me?
Yeah. You might have to wear a mask though. I that's something I cannot get done.
I was a catcher growing up and a third baseman. The last time I played softball was company softball when I worked for Vaughn's and I played third base.
Frank Marchese, third base. All right. Well, might be some fireworks that hit the Poway Sportsplex. We'll see how it goes. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We're talking about this. We're going to get into this college football stuff in this hour, and we'll do the NFL stuff at 1, Frank.
Okay.
This Lane Kiffin stuff is hilarious to me. I was just have you seen the stuff on social media? Release the Lane files. I can't wait for that.
Dear God.
This guy is the funniest coach in college football. I'll talk about it in a second. It's got Kevin in Chula Vista wants to weigh in. Kevin, what's going on?
Oh, boy, Braden, I tell you what, sometimes it's better maybe just to leave the TV off on the weekends, considering what we had to watch this weekend. But
not great.
Having said that, laser beam spot on in all your comments. Braden, put your coaching hat on. I know you're a coach. You have your team down on the visitor side. They're making all sorts of noise. You got a quarterback who's in a shotgun position and no one can hear the signals. You've got 3 illegal procedure penalties that then turn into even further regression because of your rotten play calling and just rotten execution. Wouldn't you, as a coach, call a timeout after that second procedure penalty, bring all your kids to the side, get everybody on the same page, come up with a snap count that everybody can understand, and not having them stand at the line of scrimmage as usual, looking dumbfounded because you're in this gimmick no huddle offense that very few people use in Division I major college football. And why wouldn't you call the timeout and get everybody straightened out? This is on Sean. This really is. It's on Coach Lewis.
Yeah, the way the illegal procedure penalties in a row is definitely on the head coach. You got to be able to overcome a lot of those things. And playing on the road has been a problem for San Diego State. I mean, even some of their wins on the road. They scored 6 points against Northern Illinois on the road. Thank God the defense was there. But yeah, after a couple of, after 2 in a row, I'm calling a timeout for sure. You only get one of those for overtime. And I don't think they've used it yet. I would definitely call a timeout in that particular sense. And be like, hey, everybody, we need to calm the bleep down. And then go into your silent count and all this stuff. Now, we don't have to deal with that as much at the high school level because their crowds are not as big as they are at the college level. But got to be able to do that. Now, and the shotgun thing, like, if you go shotgun all the time, you're not putting your guy under center. I think every quarterback should learn how to take snaps under center. There's a lot of quarterbacks that can't take snaps under center. And if he didn't do it all year, then you can't just have him do it right then. But a timeout would have been a good idea. The offense in the last couple of weeks has been abysmal, and everybody knows that Lucky Sutton and Christian Washington and Byron Caldwell are getting the ball, especially with the best receiver for San Diego State being out. I mean, the passing game for San Diego State has not been very good because they don't have a quarterback solution. And they don't have wide receivers that are dynamic. They just don't. They haven't had those players in a very long time, but they've been a team that has been running the ball for a long period of time. So they have running backs, and I thought their line play was decent for most of the year. Got a little banged up there near the end, but they got to be able to get some. They got to find some dynamic receivers, and they got to be able to get a quarterback if they want to be successful in 2026. And we'll see how it goes. But I still think the Aztecs had a great season. Now, they have a great opportunity wherever they might go for a bowl game to win 10 games. I think you applaud that. I think it's a turnaround in the right direction. You just need a couple of these in a row. And as much as, that loss, Sean Lewis has to take responsibility for the way that thing ended. You still better hope that he stays around. Because there's going to be more games. There's going to be more openings for college football coaches in the next couple of weeks. Kentucky needs a head coach now. Penn State still hasn't hired a head coach yet. I mean, there's a lot of big programs that are going to be looking for coaches, and it's going to be the college football carousel. But I got to get to this, like, the college football in general right now with everything going about. It is so messed up. It is just so messed up from a lot of different perspectives. And here's the thing. I just think people are very hypocritical when it comes to XYZ in college athletics of who's allowed to leave and who's not allowed to leave. I think the biggest problem with college athletics right now is the timing of everything that's played out. The schedule makes no sense for college football. The schedule was originally posted based on, like, getting kids into school. These kids aren't going to school anyway. The school thing's over in college football. If you want to make all these rules and I'm just talking about football. All the other sports, most of those kids are there to go to school. For sports like football and basketball and maybe women's basketball, it's a lot less school and a lot more, this is pro sports. The timeline does not make any sense. I mean, the fact that you have to get, like, coaches hired now and not during an off-season status in order for recruiting is a joke. There needs to be the recruiting needs to be completely changed. The timelines for hiring coaches need to be changed. The timeline for the transfer portal need to be changed. I mean, there are so many things that need to be changed where it doesn't take away from the sport. You don't have situations like the Lane Kiffin story. The Lane Kiffin story to me is fascinating. Like, Clay in South Bay goes like, who cares about it? It's fascinating that this sport is the gift that keeps on giving for just the drama. In what world? I mean, think about this for a second. And we're going to get more into details on this Lane Kiffin deal in the next segment. But think about this. In what world does a coach leave his current job before they get to the playoff where he has a chance to win a championship with a championship level team and leaves that for a different job in the same conference to go coach? I mean, think about that for a second. Could you imagine? The Giants fire their fire their manager. Just to put it in baseball perspective, fire their manager. Let's say they fired Bob Melvin for the end of the season. And Mike Schilt leaves the Padres before their playoff games against Chicago to take the Giants job because they need to get ready for their offseason program because they got to start thinking about bringing in new free agents. What world does that make any sense? I mean, this is a weird... College football is this weird amateur professional sports league right now that just is utter chaos. Because remember, he's leaving a school for a job in the exact same conference. There's so much to unpack with this Lane Kiffin saga. I'm going to tell you why it's the right move for Lane and why it's not a right move for Lane. I see both sides of the story. We'll explain next on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. I love the both sides of the story of this Lane Kiffin saga. Just so fun to watch. This holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97 to the Fan and support the San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97tothefansd.com/food fund and give today. Let's talk about Lane Kiffin, Frank. Lane Kiffin.
Did the thing again.
I mean, we're talking about a guy. Did you hear the story? I think I sent it to my friends when I saw it. Lane is the gift that keeps on giving, dude. He's the guy I would hate to have coach my college football team. But as an outsider, I think it's hilarious watching him operate. Okay, this is all you need to know. This is Lane Kiffin for you. Have you heard the Lane Kiffin story about how he got into college coaching?
No.
This is from David Carr, okay? Remember David Carr?
Yeah.
Played for Fresno State.
Yep.
Right? Played in the NFL, played for the Texans for a long time. Yep. Right? The older brother of Derek Carr, also played at Fresno State. Lane Kiffin is the son of Monty Kiffin, the longtime football coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin is from Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where he was born. He went to Bloomington Jefferson High School in Minnesota in 1994 when he graduated and then committed to Fresno State to play college football. Lane Kiffin at Fresno State. Here, this is everything. This is so Lane Kiffin. It's great. So this is from David Carr. He put this out there in a story, and I can't remember the exact story. But he played for Jeff Tedford at Fresno State back in 1994 through 1996. So this is from David Carr. He goes, so Lane gets a little upset. We're roommates. We're cool. I love Lane. David Carr said. We go out. We're supposed to be at practice in full pads. I'm in full pads. Lane is in shorts and a T-shirt carrying his helmet. Everybody else on the team has full pads on. He has shorts and a T-shirt on. We get out to the field, and Lane's ready. He knows what he's doing. And at the time, offensive coordinator Jeff Tedford looks straight past me and looks at Lane. Quote, Lane, what are you doing? With some expletives in there.
Of course.
Lane goes, you know what? I just figured I don't need to dress out fully if you're just going to give all my reps to Dave. That is such a Lane comment. The Fresno State offensive coordinator at the time, Jeff Tedford, who later served as the program's head coach from 2017 to 2019, didn't take kindly to Kiffin's lack of professionalism.
No way. Really?
So David Carr says they start screaming at each other. Tedford kicks Lane off the field. Lane's like, fine, I quit. So he quits, goes in the locker room, and he comes jogging back out with a polo on.
Brother quit because he wasn't good enough to be a
He wasn't getting the
starting
playing
quarterback
time
at Fresno State.
over
Got
David
it.
Carr. He's like, I'm not going to do this. I quit. So he goes in the locker room. He comes back jogging out with a polo on. And David Carr goes, what happened inside? And Jeff Tedford goes, oh, we called his dad. We called Monty Kiffin. And Monty said, you're not bleeping quitting. Get back out there. I don't care in what capacity. So Lane's like, fine, I'll just coach instead. So they made him an assistant wide receivers coach that day, and that's when his coaching career began. This is what you need to know about Lane Kiffin before you dive into the saga of what Lane Kiffin has been. So he was a Fresno State assistant coach in 97 through 98. He got picked up by Colorado State to be a GA. In 2000, he was a defensive quality control coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then he got picked up by USC. In 01, he was a tight ends coach at USC. 02 to 03, coach receivers. He worked his way up to be the offensive coordinator for USC and the receivers coach. That got him the job with the Oakland Raiders. He's the Oakland Raiders head coach for 2 years, and he gets fired by the Davis family. He then goes to Tennessee.
It's not that daddy saved him. It's that daddy smacked some sense into him. Said, you're not quitting.
Lane Kiffin at Tennessee. The Tennessee story is hilarious.
Oh, my friend, I've mentioned him many times. He's a Tennessee fan. He still hates Lane Kiffin.
They hate Lane Kiffin. Why do you think when the Ole Miss played there, they were throwing golf balls and mustard bottles on the field? November 28, 2008, multiple media outlets reported that Lane Kiffin would be the next head football coach at the University of Tennessee in 2009, replacing Philip Fulmer, who was fired. Tennessee formally introduced Kiffin as the school's 21st head coach on December 1st, 2008, in a 2 p.m. news conference. At the age of 33, Kiffin was hired by Tennessee and became the youngest active head coach in Division I FBS, surpassing, at the time, Northwestern's Pat Fitzgerald. Kiffin signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Tennessee on November 30th, 2008. Deal include $2 million in 2009 with additional performance bonuses, including a $300,000 bonus if Tennessee was able to compete for a national championship, yada, 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 yada. Kiffin led the Volunteers to a 7-6 record in 2009, improvement from their 5-7 record in 2008. Highlights included wins over South Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky. However, the season was marred by losses to UCLA, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, and Ole Miss, as well as a 23-point blowout loss to Va Tech in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. After one season as coach, Kiffin left the Volunteers during the 2010 recruiting season and accepted the head coaching job at USC after Pete Carroll left for the Seattle Seahawks. On February 5th, 2009, during a Tennessee booster breakfast at the Knoxville Convention Center, Kiffin accused Urban Meyer, then head coach of Florida, and also head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, for violating NCAA recruiting rules. Kiffin's departure for USC in 2010 after just one season as head coach upset many students and fans of the University of Tennessee. When Tennessee athletic director Mike Hamilton was asked for an assessment of Kiffin's tenure, he responded with just one word: brief. Hundreds of students rioted on campus at the news of Kiffin's departure. Knoxville police and fire department were brought in after students blocked the exit from Neyland Thompson Sports Center and started several small fires. That is saga number one. Actually, saga number one of Lane Kiffin was the fact that he quit and had to go back to coach at Fresno State. Saga number two was him leaving Tennessee in fire and brimstone, apparently. So then he takes over at SC. Coaches at SC for a handful of years. Then he gets the tarmac conversation is hilarious. On September 20th, this is Lane. This is the Lane Kiffin story is amazing. On September 28, 2013, after a 62-41 loss at Arizona State, USC Athletics Director Pat Hayden fired Kiffin hours after the game. When the team arrived back in Los Angeles at 3 a.m., Kiffin was called off the team bus that was preparing to head back to campus from the from LAX and taken to a small room inside the terminal where Hayden told Kiffin he was being dismissed. After the meeting, Hayden rejoined the team bus and they headed back to campus with Kiffin's bags, leaving Kiffin behind at the airport. Hayden supposedly met with USC president at the time in the third quarter, and they decided Kiffin should be terminated. Hayden formally announced the decision to dismiss Kiffin the next day. Ed Orgeron took over for Kiffin and led the team to a 6-2 finish, including an upset win against Stanford. USC won the Vegas Bowl under interim head coach Clay Helton against Fresno State. Former USC associate head coach and Washington head coach Steve Sarkisian was hired by Hayden following the season. He leaves Tennessee to the what looked like what happened last night at Ole Miss. He goes to USC. He gets tarmacked. He gets fired at the airport. Doesn't even take the team bus back. Gets a career resurrected at Alabama, where he becomes an offensive coordinator for Nick Saban. Goes to Florida Atlantic for a couple of years. Bails on Florida Atlantic to get the job at Ole Miss. And then last night had the entire saga play out where he jumps out of Ole Miss and ends up taking the LSU job. On the evening of November 30th, 2025, Kiffin was named the school's 34th head coach at LSU, signed a 7-year, $100 million deal, making him one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. This is everything you need to know about Lane Kiffin. And I mean, the saga of him with potential students and stuff at school, I mean, the rumors out there is crazy. But I don't understand why Ole Miss is that upset. You knew what you signed up for. He did it to Tennessee. He did it to Florida Atlantic. He was going to do it to you, Ole Miss. And guess what, LSU? He's going to do it to you, too. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I'm not overly surprised. At least this time, and albeit probably selfish, Lane Kiffin wants to finish out the season with Ole Miss. So here's the conversation, right? I mean, he already told Ole Miss, kick rocks. I'm going somewhere else next year. But I'm willing to finish out the season with the Rebels. And the president or chancellor or whoever runs Ole Miss said, no, you're either with us or you're against us. I see both sides to it. Like, he doesn't have to finish out the season. Now, I'm sure Lane's doing it to get his playoff bonuses, and he has an opportunity to win a national championship, and he doesn't want to leave in order to do that. If you're Ole Miss, I mean, to me, like, you can take it both ways. I see both sides of this story. He decided he doesn't want to be part of the Rebels family anymore. He doesn't want to be the head coach of Ole Miss. Kick rocks, buddy. Let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. We're going to go win this thing without you. But at the same time, like, he's doing it to, like, improve recruiting at LSU. For every day that he's with Ole Miss, he's not recruiting for LSU, or he's trying to behind the scenes. He's going to severely hamper LSU for the beginning of next season, or potentially be a gigantic distraction for Ole Miss as they finish out the year. Lane threatened with, like, I'm going to take half the coaching staff. Ole Miss is like, sure, go ahead. To me, it's a hilarious story. Now, here's the deal. This is the environment that college football has created. I don't feel bad for Ole Miss. I don't. They signed up to have this traveling circus be part of their athletic department. So everybody that was patting themselves on the back that we got Lane Kiffin, thinking that this wasn't going to end in a gigantic blowout, is foolish. He offered to coach. He offered to coach throughout the rest of the year. They said no. I get Lane's perspective. And at the same time, we're in a situation now where everybody's a mercenary, including coaches. Including coaches. There's no loyalty here. There's absolutely no loyalty here. They don't care. None of those players give a rat's ass. They don't care. They're going to leave as first sign that they can anyway. That's how it is for everybody right now. There's no contracts for a long period of time. There's no honor in college football. There's no loyalty in college football. That's the environment everybody created. Everybody wants to get paid, right? Well, if the players can leave whenever they want to go get paid, why can't the coaches leave whenever they want to get paid? I know they were doing it before, but this is the environment you created. You've created a schedule that allows coaches to start recruiting at this point in time. He needs to do that in order to go coach at LSU. And he'd rather be there, obviously, for the money. I mean, if the players are allowed to leave for more money at any point in time, why can't the coaches do that? And of course, he's got to bring his staff. You're as good as your staff is. You got to bring in people that you're going to trust. Lane's got his own group. They're leaving with him. And if you're on his staff, guess what? I mean, that's an interesting question, I think. The more interesting question is what you do if you're a staff member. If you're the offensive coordinator for Ole Miss, right? Was it Weiss? Here are your options. And it's tough because this is how crazy college athletics are. Lane's like, I'm gone. I want you with me. You got to come with me. What happens if you stay? There's no guarantee you're going to have a job there if you stay. Like, Lane says, you're either on this plane or you're not coming to LSU with me. I'm going to go find somebody else. Or I stay at Ole Miss, and guess what? When they hire a brand new coach, he ain't going to bring me in. He's going to bring in his own guys. So now I don't get LSU, nor do I get Ole Miss. What, for the betterment of the kids? Those kids could give a rat's ass about you and what you do. They're in it for the money. Go talk to anybody that plays college football right now. I'm telling you, I just had kids come back from colleges in town for Thanksgiving, former players for us at Cathedral, and they talk about how it's everybody is out for themselves. There's no team aspect. Everybody's looking for money. Agents are constantly looking right now for players for better landing spots so they can make more money. Everybody's doing that. So this whole BS is like, oh, he bailed on the kids. The kids are about to bail on him. They don't care. I can't believe Coach bailed on me. Give me a break. This is what you created. This is the environment we've created as a society with college athletics. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to start trickling down to high school. It's going to start trickling down to youth. We value money over values of human values for society. That's what it is. You can complain about it all you want, but this is what we wanted as a society. We like this stuff. They should be able to make as much money as possible. The kids should be able to make as much money as possible. Oh, but the coaches can't? You knew he was going to do this. All you were waiting for was a guy like Lane Kiffin to finally pull the trigger. Are all coaches like that? No. At least with the Tulane situation and with some of the group of five, nobody cares about that because they're like, oh, they're on an inferior team. Let them go to another important team. It's all about money, though. What's a better job, LSU or Ole Miss? I mean, Ole Miss, nobody cares about you in the SEC. You're not a valuable piece of the SEC. It's great that you're winning, but nobody thinks about Ole Miss to think about the SEC. You're not. You're the little brother of the conference. You're there to fill out the schedule so Georgia and Alabama can go kick ass. You're not important. You want to know why you're not important? Your head coach just left for another school in the exact same conference. Tough for Ole Miss. You signed up to be that spot. That's what you are. Some people will stay. Some people won't. Some people will think about more money and a different solution, but this is the reality of the situation. The players are leaving. The coaches are going to leave. For everybody that says these kids should be allowed to make as much money as possible, why isn't that the case for everybody in college athletics? It's either the case or it's not. There's no loyalty in college football. Everybody's a mercenary. This is why you can't relate to the kids on the teams anymore that are playing, because they're not going to be there next year. Again, just from like personal experience and perspective, every kid and most kids right now in college athletics, especially at the higher levels, have agencies that are constantly asking around throughout the season whether or not they could get money in the transfer portal. You have to be able to rope in some new rules and be like, no contact during the season. This is the period of time where you can get kids to sign at your school. This is the period of time where you can enter the transfer portal. This is the period of time where you can hire coaches. I mean, these are the rules and regulations that you need to be put in for the betterment of competition. This is why pro sports have these rules. You want to know what it's like to be a professional sport without rules? You're looking at it. It's called college football. It all needs to be fixed. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the epitome of the Lane Kiffin situation. He has the right to go wherever he feels. If a school is willing to pay him that, that's what he's worth. He should be allowed to go where he's worth. And if that was the opportunity he had, that's the opportunity he has to make $100 million. If any player did that, people would understand. But all of a sudden it's Lane and he's not that great of a guy. Oh, we don't understand. I can't believe he would do that. I can't believe he'd bail on these kids. Every single one of those kids on that team is going to bail. And they were going to bail if they got a bigger contract. And that's what everybody in college athletics is doing. You should not be surprised at what happened over the weekend. I'm not surprised. This is all the stuff that we've talked about on these airways for the last 3 or 4 years about unintended consequences. I hope this is the thing that needed to happen to start implementing rules. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. He made himself public enemy number 1 in Mississippi. He's public enemy number 1 in Tennessee. And guess what? In about 5 years, when he takes the Alabama job or some other job is going to pay him a lot more money, he'll be public enemy number 1 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And guess what he's going to do? He's going to cry in his $100 bills and not care. You saw the scenes yesterday in Mississippi. Everybody's booing him and flipping him the bird, and the coaching staff jumped on the plane. Did you see what happened when he landed in Louisiana? He was treated like he was the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. He had a police escort to wherever the hell they were going. Security. He had all these people cheering for him. Do you think he cares what Oxford, Mississippi thinks about him? No. He just got a big pay raise at a different school. And to think that these other coaches wouldn't do that, you know what they did? They got the money they needed out of these deals. Signetti stayed. Signetti stayed because he got paid more money. Signetti didn't stay because the betterment of out of the goodness of his heart. Oh, I believe in Indiana. I really believe in this school. Are you kidding me? He believes in the dollars he's getting. Give me a break. Everybody needs to start looking at college football for what it is. It's a giant business. And decisions are going to be made based on businesses. Business decisions. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's not tampering. This is what's going on. I mean, just from my perspective, as a TCU fan, Sonny Dykes at a press conference literally said, we've been breaking down tape of over 200 kids that we think might enter the transfer portal. Not they're in the transfer portal. It's we think they're going to be in the transfer portal. This is the environment you created when you opened up the can of worms of let's pay student athletes millions of dollars to play football. The Lane situation's crazy to me. Need a contestant for a midday sports stand-up. When we come back, we'll talk more about college football as we continue. We'll get into the NFL in the next hour. Any updates on baseball, we will give them to you. We're a little bit late, but we're going to catch up when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. August 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. College football. Lane Kiffin's saga is the conversation. That's the situation that needs to be why they need to have rules. I even got to talk about like all the craziness of like the college football playoff and how much of a joke that is. I mean, we could talk about that tomorrow. Or what they need to do. Again, with my perspective, being a TCU fan, I heard Sonny Dykes talk about it's long overdue to make some type of collective bargaining agreement with the players in college football. I mean, this is where they're at right now. And I think Lane Kiffin's saga of leaving Ole Miss for another school in the exact same conference and the way that he did it and the way it's happening highlights that, Frank.
No, I agree. And again, it's hard to say if you're Ole Miss. It's hard to say you didn't see it coming because this has happened multiple times with him. And I would not be surprised if LSU is not the next one on the list. The only schools I don't see him doing that to maybe are Alabama and possibly if there's another big job out there like a like a Michigan or an Ohio State, if something happens at those
Eventually,
schools,
he's got to be at a place where he settles in, right? I mean, eventually,
I would have to
right?
think Alabama is that school.
Did anybody honestly think, especially in this day and age of NIL, that Lane Kiffin was going to stay in Oxford, Mississippi? Did anybody actually think that was going to be the case?
No.
I mean, people in Oxford had to think about that in the back of their mind. Why would you ever, like, Oxford, Mississippi? I mean, are you kidding me? Guy's making a fortune and that's where he lives? Like, come on. Not like Baton Rouge is that much better, but still, I mean, it's like, at least LSU has a little bit more
history
juice
behind
to it.
Yeah.
He probably has the resources to compete at that level at LSU. I don't know. Who knows?
The only time he's going to stop is if he's at a perennial national powerhouse. He's bouncing from quote unquote B tier schools, waiting to get to an A tier school. And I think once he finally gets to that A tier school, that's when he's going to stop.
I think LSU is close to an A tier school.
Oh, it absolutely is. It is. It's closer than Ole Miss is. But I'm talking about the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Notre Dames, the perennial top of the class.
The problem with a lot of these are all the buyouts and everything like that. I mean, these contracts have gotten so out of control that it's again, don't hate the player. You got to hate the game. I mean, the way it's scheduled, the way recruiting is, the way when signing day is, like all of that stuff. That's all things that if it was professional sports would be happening during the offseason. This is why baseball has all these rules, right? Can't negotiate a new contract until 5 days after the conclusion of the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can do all of your stuff. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the NFL. You see this happening in the NFL because again, it's they have rules in place. And if the only way to get rules in place is getting a collective bargaining agreement, well, it's time. It's time to finally fully embrace what you are.
And Nate in the chat, I'm not insinuating that Notre Dame would bring him in. I'm just saying that's the level of school
brand name
that is going to get him to finally stick.
Here are some things with the LSU contract with Lane Kiffin. For a brief moment in time, this is from Wilson Alexander on Twitter. Adam Klug sent it to us. For a brief moment in time right now, LSU is paying Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, and Ed Orgeron. It sends Orgeron its last buyout payment of $426,000 on December 15th. Yeah, there's money in the banana stand. He also had this to say. This has been updated to include a fascinating part of Lane Kiffin's deal. LSU agreed to pay his postseason bonuses even though he won't coach Ole Miss in the college football playoffs, so he could still make up to $1 million if the Rebels win a national title without him. I don't think they're going to do that. Who's going to call the offense? Most of the offensive staff left with Lane.
Mm-hmm. And they hired the defensive coordinator as the head coach, too.
Yeah, take that for what it's worth. I mean, they'll rally behind him, but it's not going to be enough. You kidding me? Drastically different thing. Hey, by the way, if we're going to go based on the logic of the playoff committee, Frank, it's a different Ole Miss team now without their coaching staff. Yeah. I don't think they should make the playoffs. Stupid. You know how stupid that sounds? But that, you know what? They did that for Florida State. Oh, Florida State doesn't have their quarterback. It's a different team. They're not in the playoff. Do you think they'll do that for Ole Miss? Doubt it.
No.
If that was somebody else, though, if that was somebody else, they'd be like, well, they don't have their coach.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. If that was Texas Tech or BYU, they'd be like, so dumb, dude. College football is so dumb. It's like it's the greatest sport in America, I believe. I think college football is the greatest sport in America, and it is also the poorest run sport in America.
Did you see somebody tweeted that, like, to the clowns that think the college football is better than the NFL? Somebody retweeted that saying, okay, when was the last time the NFL had 100,000 people storm the field, steal the goalpost, carry it for 3 miles, and then dump it in a river? When was the last time the NFL had that?
The NFL is corporate for fan. It's a fantasy football league. People watch it for fantasy. I mean, this is all you need to know about the NFL. I like the NFL. I don't have a team, so I watch casually. I think it takes over on Sundays, and I think fantasy football is the thing that's keeping the NFL running right now. But I watch Red Zone. I forgot how stupid kickoffs were in the NFL until last night when I watched the game from start to finish. I was like, this is stupid. What is this? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I never watch the NFL. I never watch full games because I'm watching Red Zone. It's strictly on fantasy football. I'm watching for fantasy football only. I could really give a rat's ass about certain teams.
By the way, here's to not having your Sunday ruined by the New York Giants.
That's right. College football is the most entertaining sport in the United States. The pageantry is huge. The passion is huge. College kids going crazy. I mean, the traditions, all that stuff. It would just be nice to put in some rules so it's competitive. The thing is the rules that you could put in are so simple, but greed gets in the way because the people in charge are making all the money. And when I mean the people in charge, I mean the SEC and the Big Ten. They like it the way it is. They make all the money and everybody else has to follow suit. That sounds should be. That sounds like politics.
As it should be.
No, get out of here. Big Ten corporate Frank. The fact that they were good because they're the only team that was on. They were the only teams on TV back in the 70s does not mean that they're, deserve everything else.
I mean, just because we got television contracts for anyone else doesn't mean that it wasn't an option for everyone else.
I'm gonna need you to stop talking.
Anyone could do it.
No. Now you sound like the Dodgers. It's a pretty simple solution that they have in terms of just making it a competitive league to find a champion. It's very easy to find. They could put in simple rules of how much you can spend money on the college players, all this other stuff. They have simple rules for the playoff that they could do. I mean, the FCS, the FCS has a playoff. It's 24 teams in it. Automatic qualifiers. Let everybody bitch and moan about the 4 at-large teams that don't deserve to be in it anyway. You win your conference, you're in. If you decided to join a stupid conference that has 16 teams and you don't have divisions and you have to play a difficult schedule, you know what? Sucks to suck, dude. You sign up for that. I thought it was so funny when Sarkisian was complaining about that. Oh, my schedule is so hard. If you didn't leave for the SEC, you wouldn't have to deal with these problems, dude. You made that. You guys did that for extra money. I don't feel bad for any of these teams that have to play difficult schedules. Joke. FCS has a great playoff. They could totally incorporate that with the FBS and make it simple and not have to worry about all this stuff. They're going to slowly start turning people off from their product, but that Lane Kiffin saga is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. We'll talk more about that as the weeks go on. NFL Whip Around when we come back. It's that time again, Frank. Time is it, Frank?
1 o'clock.
What do we do at 1 o'clock?
Final hour of the show.
And
it's been a while, dude. Relax.
I know, it has
Let me
been a
figure it
while.
out.
We've had a couple of days off.
We
the
have.
turkey got to your head. Maybe the mac and cheese.
Yeah,
Gravy. 1 o'clock means
I'm lost. I'm lost.
By the way, do we have the pair of those are we giving those away today?
Yes, we are.
You know, that was our return music right there.
There you go.
There you go. We're gonna be giving those away in a second, but it's 1 o'clock. You know what that means? Time for today's biggest fan. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Vanessa Ruiz in San Diego. Vanessa Ruiz in San Diego. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for a grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season. Catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Vanessa Ruiz in San Diego. Give us a call. You got 10 minutes. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We have Zach Bryan tickets to give away. We'll do that going into the next break. One, that's me. No, it's not. Sorry, big dog. All right. Nate, who are these people? Couldn't tell you. Let's get to today's NFL whip around.
I agree. Let's do that.
All right. Fun day in the NFL yesterday and throughout the week. So I thought going into the weekend, the best games are going to be on Thursday, and the best games kind of were on Thursday. The game on Friday was pretty good, too, between the Bears and the Packers. Sunday, some decent games mixed in, but they really capped it off with a really great performance on Sunday night. Let's talk about from Thursday on, since we weren't on the last handful of days. Thanksgiving Thursday was a fun day for the NFL, starting with the Packers and the Lions, Frank.
That it was. The Green Bay Packers taking down the Detroit Lions. Lions looked bad in that game. 31-24. Packers now 8-3-1. Lions 7-5.
I don't think the Lions are going to make the playoffs. Is that a bold statement?
No, I don't
think
so
they're going to make
either.
the playoffs. You start looking at the playoff standings right now in the National Football League. I like where the Packers are playing right now. I think the Packers are going to get the betterment of the better of the Bears in the next couple of weeks. They got them next week at Lambeau. I think the Packers win that game, and they track down Chicago. But the Lions are in a little bit of a jam right now to finish the season. I think the Cowboys are playing really good football. We're going to get to them in a second. But the Lions and the Cowboys play on Thursday. And then after that, the Lions got to go to L.A. to take on the Rams. That's not an easy game, even though they lost to Carolina over the weekend. They get to host the Steelers. You don't know what type of Steelers team you're going to get. And then in Week 17, Lions go to Minnesota. Might be able to get a win there. And then the final week of the season, they play at Chicago, probably for a chance to win for a playoff spot on the line. So if you look at the next 5 weeks for the Lions, they got the Cowboys, they got the Rams, they got the Steelers, and they got the Bears. They got to win more than 2 of those games if they want to make the playoffs. And I don't see them beating anybody besides maybe the Cowboys and the Steelers. I got the Vikings too. The Vikings and Steelers. That's only going to give them 2 wins in the next 5 weeks. They go 2-3. And if the Lions are 2-3, that means they finish 9-8. I don't think 9-8 gets you in the playoffs in the NFC this year.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be a tough hill to climb for the Lions. Speaking of a tough hill to climb, the Kansas City Chiefs hill keeps getting tougher and tougher to climb as they fall to the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, 31-28. Cowboys now 6-5-1.
Cowboys are a game and a half behind the Eagles in first place, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
A game and a half behind the Eagles in first place. Eagles are trending in the wrong direction. We're going to talk about that game in a second. I think this game means more about Dallas than it does Kansas City. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I still think they're going to find a way to the playoffs. They got Houston next week. Houston's defense has played really well. And after that, they got the Chargers at home, which I think they win that game. Then they got to go to Tennessee, who sucks. That's going to be a win. They got Denver at home, which is another game I think they win because it's at home. And then they go play the Raiders. I think the Chiefs are going to be in contention here in a second. But they still have a little time. The Cowboys kind of have their backs against the wall. I know they're only a game and a half behind Philadelphia. They got a big one against the Lions on Thursday. But Cowboys got the job done. They just got to be able to survive on defense because their offense is going to score some points.
And that tie against the Packers could bite Dallas in the butt, especially if it gets close enough. The nightcap in the Thursday night trio, the Cincinnati Bengals. I was really surprised at this one with how good Baltimore has been playing. Bengals handled the Ravens pretty well, 32-14. Joe Burrow is back. Bengals now 4-8. Ravens 6-6.
The Bengals can win that division. I didn't think so, but then after Thursday, they're 2 games back.
That is the good thing about the division being as bad as it is.
The Bengals got to play they get to play the Ravens again in 2 weeks. And if they win that game, they're going to be almost in the driver's seat. But here's what, they have to make it through. Even if they lose to Buffalo, I think they have a really good chance of potentially winning the division. It's wide open now. I mean, the Ravens got to play the Packers near the end of the year. I don't know if they beat the Packers or not when the Bengals get to play the Cardinals. I don't think the Steelers are relatively in play either. But if I start going through the upcoming schedule of who's going to win and who's not going to win between the Steelers and the Lions and the Ravens, the Bengals, I'm telling you, the Bengals are going to be right there in the conversation to potentially win the division.
And that division, the only thing we know for sure about that division is that division is not going to have multiple teams.
I just went through it. So I have Cincinnati losing to Buffalo. I have Cincinnati beating Baltimore, Cincinnati beating the Dolphins, beating the Cardinals, and beating the Browns. Is any of that crazy?
No,
it's not. And then in the meantime, I got the Ravens beating the Steelers, losing the Bengals, as mentioned, Steelers beating the Dolphins. I mean, Steelers are probably going to lose the Lions. Without going through every single game, I got the Bengals going 8-9. I got Baltimore going 8-9, and I got Pittsburgh going 8-9. And guess who they said the tiebreaker is based on the playoff machine? Cincinnati. If they all go 8-9, which is highly likely, the Bengals are going to be the 4th seed in the playoffs. That division is going to be fun to watch down the stretch. I thought the Bengals were dead and buried. Joe Burrow, we said, don't even bring Joe Burrow back.
Yeah.
There's no reason to.
Yep.
There's reason to now. They got a good chance at winning the division. And we had that Bengals fan in our chat the other day. He's like, I got to fire Taylor and all this other. Bro, they're going to win the division. Which would totally eliminate our entire thing about the Ravens. But Ravens and Bengals, that game not next week, but the week after, will be for the division. Because if the Ravens win that game, I think they're going to finish 9-8. They'll win the division by a game over Pittsburgh. But if the Bengals win at home against Baltimore, they'll win the division. That is the division championship next week. Who would have thought a Thursday night on Thanksgiving, Joe Burrow lighting up the scoreboard with the Cincinnati Bengals? They're right there. Juan's like, relax about Cincinnati. Bro, they look better. They're way different with Joe Burrow than they are without Joe Burrow. They're right there. It's a beauty of the NFL, man. Made it to Friday, finally.
Yep, on to Friday. The Philadelphia Eagles definitely looked more like the
E-L-G-L-E-S Eagles!
As they lost embarrassingly at home to the now 9-3 team that plays in Chicago at Soldier Field, a team that is known as
The Bears.
The Bears!
24-15.
That was a surprising loss to me for the Eagles. I thought for sure they'd be able to win that game and bounce back from, what happened in Dallas. I think that puts them behind the 8 ball now, because if Dallas is able to get tied with Philadelphia at the end of the year, they get the tiebreaker. So a game and a half behind Philly with 5 to go. And Philadelphia has to play the Chargers this week on the road. They haven't looked good on the road. They have to play. After that, they'll get the Raiders, so they'll win. They got to play Washington twice. And by the way, Washington gave Denver a run for their money last night. And I don't know if Jaden Daniels will be back at all. I don't remember if he's out for the season or not. The Eagles got to play the Bills in Buffalo week 17. The Cowboys could potentially pass Philadelphia down the stretch. I mean, the pressure is on. That's a fun division race to watch. If it wasn't for Washington, the Giants getting catastrophic injuries, that would be a hell of a division race for most teams in that division. And that division is cursed. Has anybody repeated as champions in that division in the last 25 years, whatever it is? It's been somebody new every single year.
You know what isn't new, though? As the time passes over, we're now 6 straight shows where the biggest fan
holidays
has not called. Off to Sunday. The 9-4
the games got worse.
Yeah. The 9-4 San Francisco 49ers beating the Cleveland Browns, who now fall to 3-9, 26-8.
What's up, Shador? What happened, buddy? Hey, you see, he said after the game against the Raiders, hey, imagine if I just practiced with these guys for multiple weeks. Well, you did.
Yeah, well.
And they got their ass kicked.
That worked out well.
Yeah. Special teams didn't help them out either. But San Francisco is at another division race.
Moving on.
Did you see where the NFC West?
Yeah.
All 9 wins.
Yep.
LA, Seattle, San Francisco.
The 8-4 Jacksonville Jaguars beating the 1-11 Tennessee Titans 25-3. There were a bunch of either really competitive or completely uncompetitive games this week.
Yeah, that game's not fun. Tennessee's not going to win any other game from here on out. They might be able to get. There was one game I thought they might be able to win, and it's probably week 4. It's probably this week against Cleveland. That's the only other way. They're going to go to Jacksonville. They're not going to win. Oh, they get. You know what? I lied. Week 17, they might beat the Saints at home. But if they don't beat the Saints in week 17, they're losing out, and they're going to finish the season 1-15, 1-16, whatever the hell it is now.
The now 7-5 Houston Texans said, well, you may be our Colts, but this is your loss. Colts go to 8-4 after losing to the Texans 20-16.
Colts are now not in a playoff spot, correct? Are not in a division leading spot, right? Jacksonville is now tied for the lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they are both tied, yes.
And they will play each other this weekend in Jacksonville. The Colts, I was not a huge believer in the Colts at the beginning of the season. Daniel Jones starting to come back to earth. You're slowing down Jonathan Taylor. The Texans' defense is phenomenal. Now, if the Texans just had a competent quarterback, because C.J. Stroud has just not been good since his rookie year, and a competent offense, the Texans would be in a prime spot, but that's another division. 8-4 Jacksonville, 8-4 Indianapolis, and guess who's right behind them a game back?
Yeah, Houston's
the
right
Houston
there.
Texans. There's so many divisions that have 3 teams well within the race within a couple of games. This is a fun, competitive league in the National Football League this year.
Did you see the report that came out over the holiday weekend that Daniel Jones is playing on a broken leg? He has a fractured fibula.
If it's a clean break, we've had guys do that.
Oh no, it's a fracture. So he's playing on it. Stephen Holder on ESPN writing, Colts quarterback Daniel Jones battling a fibula injury has limited his mobility. They say that as if he was Michael Vick. Faced an unfortunate matchup on Sunday, the Houston Texans and their ferocious pass rush. So yeah, he is dealing with a big leg injury. Is Daniel Jones suffered during the season?
I can't believe he's still playing.
I
mean, he's not. They don't look very good with him in there. I mean, is he playing and is he even helping the team?
That's kind of the point.
I mean, if he's just going to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, everybody knows he can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now with that report being out there, you're like, all right, well, this guy's not going to beat us. Let's just try to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Exactly right. Another bad but close game. The now 2-10 New Orleans Saints falling to the 5-7 Miami Dolphins 21-17.
Saints are trash. They're so bad.
I'm not salty. Daniel Jones is thriving in Indianapolis. I'm just saying that he has a leg injury. That is why the Colts have slipped. He's playing on a broken leg.
The Saints, this is the epitome of the Saints. So they score to make it, what was it? 19-17, right? They decided to go for 2.
It would have been 18-17. Oh, never mind.
It was 19-17. They decided to go for 2 to make it 19-19.
No, it would have been 18-17 because if the Dolphins kicked a field goal, there's no other way to get 2 points other than a safety.
The Dolphins got it was 19-17.
Oh,
and
no,
Saints,
I know what you're talking about now. No, I know what you're talking about. I know
lined up to go for 2. And they threw a pick 2.
Yes, you're right.
On the 2. So instead of it potentially being 19-all, or if they would have kicked the extra point, it would have been 19-18. And guess what? They would have been on the last drive able to kick a field goal to potentially win the game. They give up. They throw the pick. It goes 90-something yards the other way for a 2-point conversion, and the Dolphins have a huge. They flip the swing, and now it's 21-17. Ended up losing 21-17, but they were down 4 on the final drive when they could have been down 3 or less.
Oh.
if they just kick the point after attempt. I would have gone for 2 also, but you can't let them return it back for 2.
It was
Saints are bad.
It was a successful 2-point conversion.
How about them Jets?
Yeah, how about them Jets? Adam, cover your ears.
No, he probably likes this for a better draft pick now. He's at that point in the season.
Falcons fall to 4-8 after losing to the Jets in a MetLife Stadium that was about a quarter filled. 27-24, New York Metropolitans take the win.
Yeah. Remember the Falcons got off to a decent start? Well,
yeah.
They're not very good. Good for the Jets. Hey.
You want to run through these last couple games here really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
9-3 Arizona Cardinals losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks go to 7-5, 20-17.
Yeah, there's nothing you could really pull out of that game. Panthers beat the Rams 31-28.
Won the coin toss.
They won the coin toss? That continues to go?
I would have to assume.
You're going to have to look that up during the break.
That's the only highlight you need from that game is the coin toss.
Rams had 6 minutes to go. They could have taken the lead. I thought they were definitely going. The Stafford fumble killed them. Tough loss for the Rams, but they're still right there in contention for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Seahawks,
Vikings are so bad.
Yeah, Seahawks blanked the Vikings 26-0. Seahawks now go into that 3-way tie in the NFC West.
See what happens when you don't have a quarterback? That quarterback play was awful for Minnesota.
What a throw.
Absolutely awful. Yeah, you thought the Saints play was bad. The throw on 4th down for a pick 6. Jeez Louise.
Oops.
Kevin O'Connell's going to be pulling his hair out watching his team play.
Bills beat the Steelers 26-7 in Pittsburgh.
Chargers beat the Raiders. Raiders are awful.
And then the Broncos beating the Commanders 27-26 in overtime to cap out the weekend.
That guy was open too. What a great knockdown there for the Broncos. Broncos are now tied for the longest stretch in the NFL in winning games in a row by less than 3 points in every game.
And remember how I said, cheers to the Giants not ruining your Sunday?
They can ruin your Monday now.
No, it's impossible because it's Monday. Monday's ruined just by being Monday.
Oh, so it's even better.
Giants, Pats. Giants looking to try to avoid their 11th loss of the season, giving the Patriots their 11th win of the season.
Them having the number on the Patriots would be hilarious. It would be hilarious.
Again,
Patriots always beat up.
They always play each other very, very closely. I would not be surprised. If the Giants are going to win one more game this year, I would not be surprised if this is it. 7.5 is the line. Pats are favored.
I'll take the Patriots. Take the Patriots. I need a big day out of Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs. I hope it's an ass kicking. Anyway.
That's the football.
That's the NFL for you. When we come back, how was Survivor Series for Frank? We'll talk about it on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number sports station, 97 through the Fan. August 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, we had a lot of good events. Well, we had a lot of events in town this weekend. Unfortunately, not a lot of them went San Diego's way. Now,
good on UCSD basketball, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yeah, or
that was our only winner of the weekend.
We didn't have the local San Diego WWE guys win?
Yes.
There you go. And that's going to get our segment into Survivor Series over the weekend. Now, Bennett Woods got to go. Frank went, get the full experience. It was one of the main, one of the big pay-per-views that they usually do. But we got to host it here at Petco Park. It sounded like it was a fun time. What was your experience with Survivor Series?
For those of you who don't know wrestling, Survivor Series was the second pay-per-view that WWE has ever put on. The first one was WrestleMania, and the second one was 6 months away, Survivor Series. So Survivor Series has a long history of being one of the tentpole pay-per-view or now premium live events that WWE puts on every year. Walking into the ballpark and seeing two rings in the where second base should be and a massive scaffold overhang with screens was incredible. Something you don't see at Petco Park every single day. Really, really cool. I am still trying to recover some of my hearing. It was oh so loud. Understandable, but my God, it was loud. When the pyro is half as loud as the music in for the thing, my goodness. The women's War Games match was first. Charlotte Flair, who is the legitimate daughter of Ric Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky. Oh, who were the other two? Oh, Rhea Ripley and one last one who I'm upset with myself that I'm forgetting. Oh no, that was 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that was one the opener. Io Sky did a swanton, which is like basically a front flip where you land on your back. Yeah, exactly. Go Aztecs. AJ Lee, that's who it was.
Nikki Bella?
No, Nikki Bella was in the dinner match. Did a swanton, which is basically a front flip off the top of the cage with a garbage can over her head. Like she was in a garbage can on top of a 15-foot high cage. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen in person. That was unbelievable. After that was John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, son of Rey Mysterio, and John Cena in his final pay-per-view match and second to last match of his career. I was never a big John Cena fan growing up. Exactly. Just kind of the way he was shoved down your throat is like he is the guy. But still, you couldn't help but feel that Saturday night was special. Like it was the end of an era. Dominic wins. Liv Morgan, the queen herself, returns. Loved seeing that. Dominic wins the Intercontinental Championship, as you would have expected if you're a wrestling fan who has watched wrestling for a long time. Would have happened. You have to get the belt off of John Cena in some way, shape, or form before he retires. This is where it was. Dom wins in front of his home crowd. Special moment for him. Special moment for San Diego. Crowd was into that match more than any other. But yeah, a great match overall. After that was Stephanie Vacour versus Nikki Bella for the women's championship. As I said before, Nikki Bella was in the dinner match. This is where I went to the concession stand to get a shirt for my cousin. This is where I went to Hodad's up on the 300 level. Did not see a single thing of this match. I know purely by the music that Stephanie Vacour won. Back in my seat for the men's War Games match to close out the show. Good opening. Braun Breaker, who is the son of Rick Steiner, one of the Steiner brothers. This guy is a freak, an absolute freak athlete. Him running the ropes, he has been clocked at 22 miles an hour running the ropes. The guy is insane. He opens up War Games with CM Punk, who is one of the biggest names that WWE has. Which I would love to see them going one-on-one, period. Great open. I was in on that entirely. Cody Rhodes came out next for the men's team. Surprising. So you have both of the company's champions opening up the War Games. Thought they would have come out later. Then as the match goes on, Lesnar was the last guy out for Brock Lesnar was the last guy out for the heel team. As alluded to in the chat, there was a masked man who came in, jumped over and into the cage to ruin the finish to CM Punk. Adam Paul in the chat said, yeah, you do the stupid yeet deal during the match. What was supposed to be violent. That, to me, I normally I don't like joke stuff like that in the middle of matches like this. But as a way to bring out Brock Lesnar as the spoiler of the fun, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind how they used it in that context. Heel team wins. The men's match was clearly built to forward a storyline. Whoever this masked man is, assuming it's Austin Theory, which is the reports online, that's going to be a thing with CM Punk joining the heel side or the Vision as they're in their faction. There was a tease of Cody and Roman Reigns starting up a thing again. So the men's match was more to build and forward storylines than anything else, which doesn't feel great as a fan being there. Overall, the event was kind of meh. Like the show itself was kind of meh. I've seen better. I've seen worse in many years of watching wrestling. But the event itself was incredible. San Diego did such a great job of putting this on. There was stuff going on at the convention center, not just the day of, but after the show. Sunday, there was an event. There was stuff going on at the convention center. I believe there was stuff on Friday going on at the convention center as well for Survivor Series. Petco was packed. 47,000 some odd people were there. And Ben and Woods, I'm sure they talked about it during the morning show. When the matches were going on, you could do anything in the concourse. The second the matches were over, you could not move in the concourse. Everyone was in on everything that happened tonight. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. The show itself for a WWE show was okay. The first time I've been to a WWE show in probably about 8 or 9 years. I'm excited for WWE to come back to more likely than not the sports arena at some point next year.
Yeah, I think it's great that Petco Park is able to host that, right?
Yeah.
Be big enough to host something like that. You know, it's not going to be big enough to host WrestleMania. You need a gigantic facility.
No, and they're going to Saudi Arabia soon too for WrestleMania.
this is like the events that you can host when you have the facilities to host them. Petco Park is a great facility. So glad that we have that. We got NASCAR coming and more big events coming to San Diego, which is great.
Which NASCAR is having a lot of fun right now. Their lawsuit with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports started today.
Oh, that's fun.
So that's going to be incredible. It's already some juicy stuff coming out of there.
You can get that on the Frank Marchese podcast on social media. When we come back, let's get to some college football. What happened during the Thanksgiving break, how we all did in picks. Plus, we'll talk about the conference championship games that are set. Some stuff that's not Lane Kiffin related. Maybe it is. To wrap up the show on the Braden Surprenant Show, staying on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by IHOP. Introducing the IHOP value menu where all your breakfast faves are just $6 each every day. Where else can you get a big filling sit-down breakfast for only $6? Go to your happy plates with the $6 IHOP value menu. Available every day at IHOP, $7 in some locations. We're going to talk about college football here in a second. Some other things I want to get to with college football. When it comes to coaching hirings and all that stuff. We talked about the Lane Kiffin saga for a while. But before we do that, we do have tickets to give away for Zach Bryan. Zach Bryan at Snapdragon Stadium on July 31st. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. If you call in right now, the fifth caller will win a pair of tickets to see Zach Bryan at Snapdragon Stadium on July 31st. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Played one of his songs. We have a couple of his songs as rejoiner music. But he'll be here July 31st. A little bit earlier than some of the tickets we gave away for Guns N' Roses, right, Frank?
Yeah, right.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Fifth caller, and you win tickets to Zach Bryan here at Snapdragon Stadium, July 31st, 2026. I mean, I can't believe it's like already 2026, but at the same time, today's the 1st of December, which that snuck up on me fast.
Happy 35th anniversary to my parents, by the way.
Oh, happy 35th anniversary to the Marchese family. That's great. You got married on December 1st.
Yep.
How about that? Today's the 1st of December. So while Frank deals with that, let's set up what's going on with college football. And the thing is, and this is what's interesting. You look at the college football situation. Now, a lot of SEC schools might have rushed the process, but my biggest question right now is, what is Penn State doing? We have signing day coming up, which, by the way, we talked about the calendar before. The calendar of college football. Like, to me, I don't understand why signing day is the day that it is. I mean, signing day is, I think it's coming up this Wednesday. I don't understand why it needs to be this early. Signing day is Wednesday. So as I was kind of alluding to again, and I got Frank's a Penn State fan, but I don't understand why Penn State doesn't have a head coach yet.
I mean, you're waiting to see who comes out of conference championship week. The coaching carousel just began. That's really the only thing I can think of right now. And by the way, congratulations to Anthony in San Diego on the tickets.
So signing day is Wednesday. James Franklin currently is grabbing a bunch of what would be Penn State recruits.
Yes.
Are now going to Virginia Tech. I think Troy Hune's probably one of those guys. Quarterback at Mission Hills. He's getting a lot of those players. Penn State at the end of the season is about to lose their entire roster because they're all going to go where? Into the transfer portal. Your ability to bring some of those guys back require you to hire a head coach. This is why LSU hired Lane Kiffin as early as they did. This is why all of these hirings are happening right now because of this like signing day that doesn't make any sense. Signing day should be at the end of the season. It should be after the season is over. I mean, college football should really take notes out of the book of the NFL in terms of like having an event every single month of the year. They're a professional entity now. They should be able to go out there and do it. Go be professional. Like, have signing day after the end of the season. Have the transfer portal open up at a certain time. Have the whatever. I mean, the whole, like, enrolling early thing, so you get another... They need to go away with a lot of the things that were the benefits of being a college athlete and just make it the professional sports. But, again, you go back to Penn State. Where's their search going? Like, do we have any news on? I think, oh, maybe it's Heupel.
Nope.
Maybe it's, maybe
Kalen
Kalen DeBoer will take the Penn State job. Like, it sounded like 3 hours ago, they had a source saying Penn State was in talks with Kalani Sitake, who's the BYU head coach. And then all of a sudden, BYU said, I think I saw a thing where BYU is giving Kalani Sitake a contract extension.
The last thing I saw was that they might have been targeting Notre Dame's head coach. I don't see him leaving.
Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, Marcus Freeman. I don't see him leaving Notre Dame. But that was a couple weeks ago when I saw that. That's the last I've really seen as far as big names are concerned going to Penn State.
I don't understand what Penn State's doing. They got to try to get in front of this. I mean, with every single time they put themselves behind the 8 ball, and again, it comes down to the college football schedule. Like Jake Water keeps saying, like, that's what the FBS coaches are saying. I just think it's just what I think the prominent ones make these decisions because it benefits them, and it makes it hard to compete for everybody else. But the reality is, these conferences need to get together and put in rules where signing days after the season. And the transfer portal is after the season. And all of these coaching carousels are after the season. And all of this stuff is after the season where there's no advantage to making your coaching decisions before the end of the season. All these teams are hiring all these coaches throughout. I mean, Tulane just lost their head coach. Ole Miss lost their head coach. James Madison lost their head coach. I mean, we're talking about teams that are competing for a college football playoff spot. Before conference championship games are losing their coaches and potential players. Like, guys are entering the transfer portal. I mean, I already saw a thing. And again, my perspective's different because, I watched TCU, obviously. They already got a commitment from an Oklahoma State guy that left in the portal when Gundy got fired. He's already like, I'm going to commit to TCU as an offensive tackle. What are we doing? They got to be able to find, this is the stuff that they need to fix in college athletics. The money thing is one thing. But what I don't understand is kind of the schedule of the terms of events. I mean, you could say what you want about the situation at hand with the transfer portal and with everything involved in college athletics. But to me, it's like, I don't know why they don't have this stuff all at the end of the season. And to say it's like to get kids enrolled at the next semester is just a joke. Just stop it. Maybe they should move the season up a little bit and start it in mid-August when, high school football starts. And so you're done earlier. I mean, this thing keeps continuing to drag out. I mean, there's so many things I would do with college football. One of them in particular would be get rid of conference championship games. We have those this weekend, right?
Yes. Yep.
With the giant conferences and no divisions, it's stupid. Like Indiana and Ohio State. Let's just talk about them for a second. What's the point of either of them playing in this game? What's the point?
Keep that undefeated keep that perfect
who cares?
season, I guess.
It's an extra game that doesn't matter. It's an extra game that doesn't matter that they're trying to not get their players hurt in before they get ready for the college football playoff. They're both going to be in the playoff. There's no extra incentive to win that game aside from, like, I guess you get to say you're a Big Ten champion and you get a bye. I mean, the season takes the amount of weeks that have to go by before you even play some of these games. And if you get a first round bye, I mean, you're going to play for like 3 or 4 weeks. There's no point in that game. Georgia and Alabama, they're probably both going to make the playoff. I mean, Bama maybe is on the fringe, but again, it's like, why are we playing some of these games? I'd go back to the divisions in the conferences. I'd set it up where the top 2, whatever, make it in each division. I mean, there's so many things I could lay out for you. I mean, I could put together the perfect plan and present it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that. But I would totally change the calendar. A lot of coaches, as Jake Waters said in the chat, because he asked a lot of them at the Big Ten Media Days, They all like the current calendar. They probably all like the current calendar because they have all the leverage when it comes to contracts and money. I mean, think about all the coaches that are talking around and looking around for other jobs and then get a big contract extension overnight. Of course they like this calendar. It benefits them. It's a stupid calendar for the competitiveness of the sport. I don't get a lot of things with college athletics. It doesn't make any sense. The whole structure and everything is just so messed up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
We'll have a lot more to talk about tomorrow too, because college basketball did not go well for San Diego over the Thanksgiving break either. I think one of the teams is playing tomorrow as well. Which school's playing tomorrow?
Yeah, San Diego State is
UC San Diego's playing Nevada tomorrow.
That's the only team that actually looks good right now for San Diego.
7-0. Go Tritons.
The bubble. When does the bubble pop? You know what? Maybe I'll put together a college football proposal for this week. It all falls on deaf ears because nobody ever does anything about it, but things need to change. I think Lane Kiffin really put that in a forward motion. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Gwen and Chris coming up next.